Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Women are very kind, Josh. Yes. Women are the backbone of us men.
I agree.
Well,
Great
you've got
take.
a special day today. I'll get to that in a moment. Crossover powered by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. Congratulations.
You made it.
It's your 4-year anniversary today.
So I gotta
to your
call
lovely wife.
I got to call up Michael Severe. He had some rules about this. Sorry, Matt. He had some rules about this, about like when
Being
you
married?
pass this threshold of like.
Are you out of the honeymoon phase?
I mean, we have been together for 15 years, almost
Jeez,
15
man,
years.
Put a ring on it. Good Lord.
We did 4 years ago.
Took you forever.
No, it's good. It's
Crap.
it's too long to explain, but it's actually a really good story between him and his wife.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Were you like the guy best friend, and then it ended up like having it ended up coming together?
No.
Okay.
No, that wasn't really a thing. That wasn't really a phrase that people used back then.
Sure.
But somebody had
it's
just
all over my generation's all about the guy best friend and the girl best friend type deal.
somebody called me before the show, and I couldn't understand what they were really saying, and I just hung up, and I was like, I can't. I'm about to go on the air.
I can't
And
do
then
this right now.
they immediately called me back, and I'm like, this is very interesting. I didn't think that. I mean,
You thought it was a prank call. You thought it was like
I didn't think.
You
I
thought
just
it was
thought it was
that
a
Falcons
spam.
DC.
yeah, somebody
kid.
was trying to.
No, I just thought it was a spam. I thought it was nothing, and they'll move on to the next person. They call me back immediately after I hang up, and then they were like, something. Are you at this location right now? And I was like, yes. And that's it. And then they like quickly, So I don't know. There might be something coming. I'm not sure.
Should I just go stand by the door?
Maybe it's from somebody else.
Edible arrangements or the cookie bouquet?
Edible arrangements for sure.
Well,
because
I guess I have to say edible arrangements.
Yeah. What's a very nice gift? What
is that a charcuterie board or?
No, like a chocolate covered strawberry.
Oh hell yeah, brother!
Like watermelon on a stick.
Like watermelon on a stick.
Or bacon on a stick.
What
you
is,
can get the sticks with the strawberries with the chocolate at the baseball games.
Yeah.
You ever have a chocolate covered pineapple?
No,
Pretty damn good.
really.
Yeah,
I
big
like
fan.
pineapple the way it is.
I don't know. I like that combo.
It was like the contrast of like the hard. If it was cold, like the hard chocolate on like the softer like pineapple interior. Pretty damn good. Big fan.
Okay.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it.
All right.
Wouldn't dare.
What is year 4? What are you supposed to exchange? Because it's not wood.
No, we're not to 5 yet,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Oh, not till 5.
We're gonna do our very our yearly tradition and go out to a nice dinner this weekend. And
Will you be?
It's 4 or 5?
Kidless.
this is the 4th year.
Okay.
This is it's 2025. Yes.
The traditional gift is fruit/flowers.
Oh, your wife is.
Wow,
Oh,
she
she
looked
said-
that up.
now-
She looked that
now,
up. What do you get a guy?
Have
for
I'm
his
embarrassed.
Have you
40th
done the
anniversary?
flowers?
I'm embarrassed.
She gives you fruit. You give her flowers.
No, I haven't done anything today.
The modern gift is appliances.
You're
Have you
screwed.
bought an appliance recently?
All I've done is a podcast.
Have you bought her a refrigerator or anything today?
Yeah.
A
No.
toaster?
No.
You should be like,
Air
honey,
fryer?
honey, here are your Kentucky Derby tickets.
No.
Here you go. I made a bunch of bets for you.
The Righteous Gemstone anniversary is blue topaz.
Blue topaz.
Topaz.
On a side note, did I hear that he's leaving? He's done with
That show is ending.
That
this
show is
weekend.
ending this
Why?
year. Yeah, it's over.
He
What
likes
show?
he likes to dip
They just
out
wanted to-
before
yeah.
it gets old.
It's a great take, actually.
What is he? Who is this guy? Buzz Williams?
No, the guy who
God, they're
Danny
going to leave
McBride.
us.
yeah, Danny McBride. Right, Righteous Gemstones.
That's a great show.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost caught up. I'm like,
you could spin
in the
Uncle
third
Baby
season.
Billy off into
Yeah.
its own show.
you could, but are you risking,
Yeah.
taking it too far?
So there was a show yesterday when I was going through my TikTok. Newsroom is one of those shows that ended too soon.
Yeah.
Winning time that the Jeff Pearlman of the Lakers in the 80s that just because HBO ran out of money or whatever and they said you're out.
I could have used a conclusion to that story, but it could have gone on forever. I
Well,
mean, they were
the-
only in the 80s.
Well, the Lakers said you got to stop this, and they said
Oh.
we can't. It's too successful.
yeah,
So
'Cause it
that's
was
why the second
monster.
season was so
fast.
different.
And then Newsroom wrapped up. That was good. Good show, but I'm all right. It wrapped up. You could reboot it with current modern day events.
And there's the other show, Sports Night. Did you ever watch that?
I did.
Yeah, Sports
I
Night
never
was
did.
pretty good.
I liked that one.
And that just kind of got lost. It didn't do really well in the ratings, and then it just disappeared.
I'm a little worried about this.
You'll get a call.
I already got a call. I already got 2 calls.
You'll get another call.
And there's nobody
Well, they'll ring the doorbell, and then it goes to somebody.
nobody to receive. All right.
What do you think? They'll just leave the fruit by the door
I don't know.
and drive away?
I don't
Leave it out-
know
leave it
how
out
this
front.
works. I've never gotten a gift before.
That's not true.
Do you want to break the surprise to your wife and say, "Hey, did you send me something?"
I that's what I should do.
No, you shouldn't.
Why?
Because you should just like come back home
Oh
and
my
she
gosh,
should be
thank
like,
you.
yes.
And then what if
Why is the
hey,
single guy giving the married guy advice? I
What-
don't know, man.
hey,
Do what you think is
but
best.
you got to be careful because what if it's not your wife that sent you the edible arrangement?
I don't know. I'm
Ooh.
going for it though. Let's see what happens.
It's sent.
I said
We're shooting.
Did you send me something? 5 question marks.
5.
5 question marks.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
I sent you a young daughter
Okay.
9 months ago.
I have a response.
Oh,
LOL.
So that's a yes.
Hi, Jackie.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
In Jackie language, that means yes.
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
I took it as yes, comma. I am also listening to the show.
Hello. Good morning. Happy anniversary. I love you.
See, I like that you in a relationship where you actually have some words, because there is a study out there about people now in relationships. It's more emoji than words.
Yeah, I don't do.
God,
I don't
would
really
have
do
taken that on my
emojis.
last go around.
Would you like to say something?
Were you with were you with someone that was a long texter?
I was with J.R. Tolkien. I mean, it was, and then it'd be followed up by a call.
Why
I'm
don't you
like,
guys
girl.
just call each other.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I thought, man. And then I would get the call.
Calling a human being?
I know,
Oh,
man.
that
I
is
love calls.
no,
I
no.
love calls.
No, we do not need to be calling people.
Oh
Right.
yeah, we do.
That's why we have texting.
Great
I
take,
would,
Gary.
I would,
Okay.
dude, I'd
no,
take
no,
it.
because-
no.
Unless you are like going to do it in a minute, or they're related
Yeah.
to you, which you give them 2 minutes. Texting is the way to go. It's quicker.
Mhm.
You know,
I can do
Like,
other things while I'm having
Yeah.
that conversation.
exactly. And you know what? You don't have to be offended if everything is responded by an emoji.
Do you know how many?
I
Do you know
don't
how
go,
many
Like a
I don't go
thumbs
combos?
up.
that far.
Do you know how many combos are just solved by a thumbs up? You just give a thumbs up. You don't. I don't need a soliloquy.
Yeah,
Just,
but
just tell me we're good. Hey, or just be like thumbs down, and then I'd be like, "What's up?" And then you say, it. I don't, man. I don't need words anymore. I'm done with words.
you have too many opinions on this. I think you should just go with the flow. If you're with a person who likes to long text, then just accept that I like them as a person, but they long text.
But see, it should
You
make
know?
sense.
Are you?
For
Are you
gonna
now?
say,
You are not finding
why
out
is
why I've
everything-
been single.
Why does everything seem like a deal breaker to you?
Whoa.
I mean, it feels like you have these little things. that you
If
pick
we
out,
are
you're like,
breaking,
"Hmm."
first off, you got to brush your teeth. Second off, we got
This
secondly,
is crazy.
I went through a very long process and where I did off air break down some of the things that we did, and I was
know.
very committed.
What?
When I'm committed, I'm committed.
Why don't you just, why
I'm
don't
a
you just
committed human.
why don't you
I
just
just you
dive
got to
in?
get me committed.
just dive in head first,
Why don't you
You know?
rekindle it?
blindly.
No, hell no, man. I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm going out this
See,
weekend.
for somebody
Backslide?
that complains about a long texter, you're a long tweeter. You bought a subscription so you could tweet more.
Yeah, but that's for my job. And by the way, I don't even need it until the fall now. Like now I'm just gonna hold on to having so many characters to be able to tweet and not tweet out that many characters. And most people don't even pay attention to my tweets because I tweet about the NHL playoffs.
Yeah,
and
we
nobody
gotta-
gives a damn.
We got a YouTube comment about your very long tweets.
Yeah.
a couple days ago, and they were like, "I'm not reading all that."
Okay,
You know?
but some people do, and so it's worth it.
Yeah.
For me it is. Also too, it's good for me as well because I take all those notes and then I refer back to them.
Sure.
Great note taker.
Go back to the tweets.
Sounds like it'd be
Thank
a
you,
great
Gary.
blog on 1620thezone.com.
Matt's long tweets.
Is there more cheddar? I mean,
I mean,
I've been told no.
bingo.
I've been told the cheddar comes on the back end.
you
Ah.
gotta work for the cheddar.
Some back end cheddar.
You gotta work for the cheddar.
Is it
Good
aged
band name.
cheddar?
That is a really good band name. What would that be a cover
Back end
band for?
cheddar.
Work for the
back end
cheddar.
Mm.
By the way, Gary, for my "We Are Doing a Radio Show" picture today, I used one. You're in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
You're in it.
I
didn't
saw that.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Yep.
This is like a big deal.
Yep. We flashed it back from a couple of years ago.
So my
And-
parents, so it's your 4-year anniversary. In August, it'll be my parents' 30-year anniversary.
All right.
They're
What's 30?
they're going to Europe. So
Oh,
F-
Livy.
He found the picture.
There, I had another one where you're like
Leaning
bending
over.
over to talk to her.
I've seen that one. That one
Yeah.
is great. I'm pretty sure the arm is like fully like yo ho, like you're a pirate and you got the microphone right there.
It's really good. It's really good.
You
Yeah.
look like you're like getting ready. You look a little nervous in that picture. Like it looks like you're mid deep breath.
Well, it was
It was a highly
crazy.
it was a highly intense situation. It was.
Was it like cutting the red wire at
she
the end of a
had
movie?
a lot of security.
Yeah.
A lot of
Really?
yeah.
Right.
Well, and
Rightfully
then they
so.
had every 14-year-old kid
Yeah.
that was at the game that night around her. I'm like, what are you going to do? Shoot your shot?
And she
Like, they-
Well,
people-
I
and
would shoot my shot with her sister.
I
you know?
was
Mhm.
blown
You
away.
got to think about it.
Oh, she tried to, like, she goes, don't you think my sister's funny?
she's a really good salesman.
Yeah, she that world I
Shout out
could
to
never live in.
Viore.
Like everybody was taking pictures of her, and
But she
I want to
really-
be friends with Paul Skeen, so I would
Her
start talking to
sis?
Livy's sister.
She really wanted to be
Sister.
out with the people, which anytime she's gone to, there was a stretch there where we became very familiar with Livy Dunn in Omaha. And her request was always like, I want to sit out in the stadium. And at some point people were just like, I'm sorry, I just don't think that's a good idea for you.
Yeah.
Like we have to
Put you in a box.
we gotta put
or
you in somewhere really
or where you
safe.
got to get like wristbands.
That's why they put her where they put her at that game, right at the
Yes.
back, and
and you
that's-
got to
like,
like
that's where
right
they
in the middle
that
of the
was the
road.
last day
Yeah.
that she was sitting in
yeah,
the stands.
and then they got her back in a suite the next day. But like that's kind of in the area where they put Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
when-
I kind of feel
when he
bad for
shows
her
up.
because I do get it. Like she wants to actually be out and experience some things that are like cool, and she just can't.
She can't. Too many 14-year-old boys.
Connor, her sister's name is Jules, and you'll never guess how it's spelled.
Okay, here we go. Is there a Z?
Yes.
Hell yeah!
So it ends in a Z. Julez.
Very close.
Julz.
Julz.
That's not her
Jules.
real name, right?
Jules Gunn.
Jules Dunn.
Yeah, but that's her like screen name, right? That's not her
No, Jules.
Well,
It's
you would
Jules
think
Dunn.
so. They're
like
from,
Jules from Superbad.
Yeah,
So what are they? The Dunns are from, I think, Maryland. So you have a Livy and a Jules.
I don't
Doesn't
know where
make
the
sense.
family origin is.
for me, it's just like I prefer like isn't Jules like the nickname? Like her name's Julia, and you just call her Jules.
Probably.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but like but the nice part of having like a full name is like when you get mad at them and you just call them Julia. Get over here, you know,
Olivia
or
Dunn,
Matthew.
5th-year senior out of Hillsdale, New Jersey.
Okay.
Hillsdale, New Jersey.
Wow.
Abeka Academy.
they a pipeline? Are they a gymnastics pipeline
I
out
don't
of there?
know. Let's go
Her
find out.
her GQ with Paul Skeens is actually really good.
I can't believe she got him to do those photos.
Yeah,
Funny photos.
But then they sat down and they did a Q&A with each other. It's pretty funny.
Oh, you actually read
Like
the articles?
he blew her off originally. Like
Wow.
he gave her a side hug at some baseball game.
What an
Yeah,
idiot.
because he doesn't like
he doesn't
He's a
care.
robot.
he doesn't emote.
Yeah,
Well,
But, I mean,
let's
that's
hope
how-
he does not emote with his right arm today against the Cubs.
That's how you do it, man. You
Is
ignore
that
him.
how you do it?
Apparently, that's what I've been told. Not that I've done it like
I
that.
don't think that is good advice. I think you've been given bad advice.
Well, a guy like that could probably stiff arm and
Yes.
like make him. I couldn't.
right.
They'll be.
That's
you
why
know-
it's bad
you know,
advice.
like that one song. I'll have another you in a minute. Like that's kind of how I feel like sometimes. You know. Matter of fact,
You
you're
hang
here
on
in
to a
minute.
woman who
Yeah.
loves you like grim death, okay?
a lot of Matt McMasters out there.
You must
well, you
know about
were,
me. You must
at the
know
Phillies
about
last
me.
night.
Yeah.
Out of Warner Park. Paul Skeens' name came up because they're playing the Indians from Indianapolis.
That's right.
And
You
the
talking
famous
about Muscle Milk?
Muscle Milk,
Huh?
and the day that Paul Skeens pitched,
Mhm.
which was Kids Day.
That's right.
And he's warming up in the bullpen.
That's right.
And there are like 3,000 kids asking for his autograph while he's warming up.
Mitch Sherman was in attendance.
Yeah, we
Oh.
called him that day.
Mhm.
There were a lot of people.
So it
that
must
were
have been a
there.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I think Brunts was at that game too.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
left
and
early.
Livy had not come into town because she was coming in for the weekend. They had to hire security for her. She was going to sit in the press box, and then
They went to a Creighton. They went to a
the
Creighton game.
storms came through. They banged the games out at Warner Park, and then they were sitting amongst 25 fans at a Creighton game.
It was awesome. They actually no, they weren't. They were upstairs, and so we were doing the broadcast in one of the radio booths, and I turn around and I'm like, "What in the hell?" It's Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn
At a baseball game?
at a Creighton baseball game.
Because
Wow.
Indianapolis was in town,
and-
the Pirates affiliate, and they got rained out, and so
And
they
then
were
he-
looking for stuff to
The
do.
press box was completely empty except for Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn.
That's crazy.
And,
That's
the
incredible.
giant press box.
That's sick.
yeah. So they love Omaha. They love Omaha. She went to the zoo.
She went to the zoo. She goes,
She went to the zoo.
She goes, I like your zoo.
The zoo that Travis
Travis
Kelce
Yeah.
raved about on New Heights for 7 seconds yesterday.
I know. And where'd that come from?
I don't know. We were trying to find the connection. When was he in Omaha? And has this happened recently? And did he sneak in a visit without anybody knowing?
Would he have done like something with Will Compton with Bussin' with the Boys?
Are they connected in any way?
I think they're very loosely like
Okay.
they've wanted to do things together and stuff
so
like
they went
that.
to the zoo together.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out. I'm
I don't
spitballing.
know. I don't know when he would have.
Come to Omaha.
I don't. But
I feel like you would have known. You would have known.
is
if
it
he was
possible
here in
that we
Omaha.
had a first couple of America visit
I don't know.
at the
I
Omaha
don't
Zoo?
know.
They were in the zoo petting the goats, and nobody had any idea.
He unfollowed Ryan Reynolds, so maybe they're not together. Because Blake Lively, you don't know this, Blake Lively and Taylor Swift are BFFs.
Well,
And Travis
no,
Kelce
no,
unfollowed,
no.
What?
Blake used Taylor's name in that lawsuit, and she said, "Hey, keep my name out your mouth." So they are mad at the.
Oh, didn't know.
They're
See?
mad at the
Josh
Reynolds
Hudson.
Livelies. Right
Oh.
now.
A lot of people are mad at the
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Welcome
Livelies
to
right now.
Wrexham.
I wish I didn't have to hear about that lawsuit every single day of my life.
Oh,
Wait,
Mint
really?
Mobile.
I don't have to hear about it ever. I've never even heard about it.
Are you a Ryan Reynolds fan? Do you drink Aviation American Gin and have
No.
Mint Mobile and are a big Wrexham fan?
No, but I did like the show. I like the show.
Mhm.
I watched 2 episodes of the show and I was like, meh.
It's kind of an emotional like tearjerker. It's a good show.
Yeah, I don't watch shows.
He doesn't watch shows.
No.
He has these deal breakers just all across.
You know,
It's not. A
I
deal breaker.
imagine,
That's you putting.
A nice
Words
young
in my
co-ed
mouth.
is going to want you to watch a show.
watch a
with her.
show.
Yeah, we were supposed to start a.
You had plans?
Yeah, no, it's just like whatever, man.
See, you see what I'm
Boy,
saying?
I think I might have found what's wrong.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
What was the one that was going? Severance. Severance.
Yeah.
She's like, you have a week to catch up. And I got nothing. Sorry, Lakers are on the march to be the 3 seed right now, and I gotta watch Braun and Luka play together.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you
we've
really missed
diagnosed
something
the
there.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You're too
I'm
committed.
looking back.
I love the game too much.
Would he have come to the College World Series at some point?
Travis Kelce.
In 2018, somebody tweets at him, just met Travis Kelce on an airport shuttle, super cool guy, trying to get him to come to Omaha and see the zoo. He then quote tweeted it, "You're good people too, man, and I can't resist a good zoo."
Wow. Maybe he's just a zoo goer. 2018, Travis Kelce.
What was Cincinnati doing
I mean, he's
something?
basically at the peak of his game at that point.
Yeah.
He's at the peak of his
Or
powers.
maybe he needed to fly into Omaha
I don't
before he
know.
got to like maybe
was-
KC was shut down, so he had to fly
it
into
was
Omaha.
very random that him and his brother just invited people to go see the zoo and aquarium in Omaha.
that.
Yeah, because
didn't
I
know
only
that
got
happened.
the clip from the Henry Dorley Zoo's social media, so I have no context. It's a very short clip, so I have no context.
It's literally 7 seconds.
Yeah, I have no context for how
He was just
it came
like,
up.
shout out to Omaha, good zoo. And that was it.
God, Travis
know
Kelce
why
has
that
been
came
to the
up.
zoo, and I haven't.
Oh, we got
Uh,
to get you to the zoo.
Maybe he is going to be in town for Berkey weekend.
Maybe.
Mm.
Maybe.
I learned about Berkey weekend today.
Oh, yeah. Drove by Warren's house on the
get
way
ready
here.
to speak rich
Jeez,
people.
this is a thing.
Were the ropes out?
No,
No.
sorry.
Ooh.
Didn't mean to
It's
spoil it.
Thursday, and the ropes and the stanchions are not out.
They'll be out by lunch, right?
There was one TV reporter. Don't know if it was local
Yeah.
or not, or CNBC or something like that.
CNBC.
They
Yeah,
report
yeah.
live like
Then
they air
Monday
it.
they do. The
they have a
big
whole
interview.
they have like college game day of CNBC here
Yeah.
this week.
For Berkshire Hathaway week?
Yes. Yes.
Warren Buffett's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Have you heard about him?
Well, I need a new running back. So, I mean,
See, he's not going to help you.
He's not going to be your running back.
He's already established this. He's not going to help you. He's not going to just dump a bunch of money into Nebraska football.
yeah, I'm learning. I didn't know that this was a big deal.
It's
or
a
even
huge
thing.
deal.
This weekend, you might go down to, I think he still owns the Dairy Queen 114th and Dodge.
Yeah.
Walk in there, and him and Mark Cuban are sitting in the back corner.
Well, what was it?
He might be at
Paul
the
McCartney.
This
and
one, this wasn't
ice
during
cream bench.
Berkshire, but when they went up to E Creamery with Paul McCartney a couple years ago, and they just walked in.
What?
And just
what is
sat
the
on a bench.
sentences that are coming
Just-
out of
it's
these?
2 blocks away. It's called
these-
E Creamery.
It's on the corner.
Yeah, and
And
Warren
Sir- and
Buffett
Sir
and
Paul
Paul
McCartney and
McCartney
Buffett
Sir
were-
Paul was
walked
there.
in and got ice cream and left.
And, well, then didn't they sit on the bench
And
right
they-
outside?
yeah.
What is going on? What is with
Omaha,
this city,
man.
dude?
It's
this
the best.
City, this city is wild. Let me down to Paul Skeens or to the Creighton press box. Paul McCartney's eating ice cream on a bench right outside of Goldberg's.
He took LeBron James to a burger place in town.
Burgers,
Not Dinkers.
cheeseburgers.
Um,
That's the only burger place I know.
what's the place that claims to make the Reuben but didn't actually make the Reuben?
Blacks.
No, the mattress factory.
No.
No.
Down the street here.
Yeah.
Crescent Moon.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's where he took LeBron.
LeBron James went to Crescent Moon.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Did he go downstairs and get Das Boot?
If you know, you know.
I don't know.
At
I
the
don't know.
whatever Haas?
Yes.
I love that place.
Matt, pro tip: don't go to NFM this weekend.
No, do go to NFM. Get the deals.
Well,
Yeah.
Get the deals.
But do you have to have the letter?
You got to get some stock.
You gotta have a badge.
I'm backed
yeah.
up on my NFM card right now,
Okay.
so I don't know if I can put that much
good
on
weekend
it.
to go to NFM, Borsheims.
Would you like?
Portions.
Yeah, go to Borscht. Well, you need a
Oh.
girlfriend first.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to the Omaha Children's Museum on Saturday for an event.
Let me get you some stonks. We'll get you some Berkey, some Berkeys, some baby
Get some
bees,
A, buy him some A stock.
some baby bees.
I don't
then-
have money for stocks.
Well, I'll get you some stonk, and then you can go over to
How-
NFL.
How
a-
much is one Berkshire Hathaway stock?
Oh,
Like
great
$500.
question. You want the A or the B? The
what's
real
better?
one or the baby?
The real one?
Okay.
Oh boy.
Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah, check what's that stock price
Stock
right now.
price. $530.28.
You want one?
that's a lot
That'll
of
get
money,
you
man.
into
Mhm.
to the convention.
Like
Yeah.
I'll get
You
more
go to
of a-
Borsheims, get like big discounts.
I'll get more of an ROI at the $10 blackjack table. So
That's not true. I don't think that's true. Actually,
I don't know, man. I'm on a heater right now.
well, I think Buffett has been, for the most part, on a little heater.
For the most part, the
He's-
guy's worth the world.
Oh yeah, he's cooked. He spent the last 90 years cooking.
He's just warming up.
Get
Get
ready.
men
to-
are up
Hey,
and moving.
the World Herald was just a little speed bump.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
When we owned the Golden Spikes, a little bit of a speed bump.
Yep. By the way, I received a text from a local
Edible,
dignitary.
edible
A
arrangements.
local no, I haven't heard from them yet. Matt's lack of awareness about Berkshire Hathaway is hilarious. It's like not knowing that the College World Series or Mutual of Omaha is based here.
Can I be?
Did you
hon-
know that we had those things?
Well, okay. Yes.
Okay.
All right. And I actually do play in a league with a lot of Mutual Omaha guys. Play a lot of golf with the Mutual Omaha guys. So I've learned a lot about Mutual of Omaha as of late. But in terms of, I know that Warren Buffett was born here. I know what Berkshire Hathaway is. Obviously, I just until Gary said it on the air today, I didn't know there was a full weekend dedicated to Berkshire Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is a weekend where I'm supposed to like be out on the town, so I can't wait.
You don't have to be out in the town. It's actually a weekend where people
No, I am. I'm
stay
going.
in, the locals.
No,
Yes.
no. I actually like have never had a more booked weekend in my entirety here of being in Omaha. I'm rappelling off of a building tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then
Yeah,
which
we
I
gotta
have,
Well,
talk
you get to
about
see
that?
the new Mutual of Omaha building right up close.
yeah, I'm rappelling out of the building tomorrow, and then I'm supposed to go to a gala where I'm sweating out Kentucky Derby bets in front of a bunch of business people, and then after that, I'm going to a bar, and so
That's pretty booked.
I'm
That
booked,
is-
man.
Are you going to tracks?
What?
Oh.
No. What's that? What's tracks? I don't know.
It's a bar.
Something. It's
Great
an American.
wings.
True American is apparently where I'm supposed to be going.
Okay.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard of this.
I've
heard
seen
of
New
this.
Girl.
Yeah, you should go to tracks on Derby weekend.
Well, I'm playing 9 on Saturday morning too, so it's just
Where could the people run into you at? What course?
I ain't gonna tell people, man. My life-
Shoreline?
I don't. I already played that.
That's right. I sent him there.
I love Shoreline.
He already said, "Yo,
There's
it's
no problem
incredible,
with Shoreline.
dude. I would love to live on Carter Lake. Those houses, or especially when you get up to like the. I'm just saying, they look like nice houses.
There's a couple nice houses in there.
When you get up right on like
good access to the airport
on the line. Well, I'm
You
not
can walk
worried about
across
the
the
river.
In the
You
winter,
can
you
build
just
yourself
walk across the Carter Lake.
Yeah, you can build yourself a little bridge. You get
Yeah.
straight to the river.
and I can DraftKings works out there, so it's great.
That's true. That is true.
There's always a hook.
Or FanDuel, whatever you'd like.
I'm a DraftKings. I'm a DK guy.
Okay. All right.
Stay loyal.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Greg and Myrtle Beach rates in, by the way.
I kind of want. I
Okay.
want some edible arrangements.
Just-
I was gonna mooch off you. I kind of wanted.
Well, I don't know if they're
chocolate-covered-
here yet.
Can I go
Somebody
and check?
Yeah,
Hey.
go check. Go ahead.
I just want to clean up some things because we're a sloppy show on purpose. Matt, I believe I quoted you the baby Berkshire Hathaway stock
Oh,
price.
no.
Oh,
The actual baby Berkshire Hathaway stock goes for 600,000.
Okay. Maybe just a part of one.
yeah. Maybe a screenshot.
Yeah. Greg and Myrtle Beach rates in.
Hello, Greg.
The Oracle of Omaha doesn't invest in hapless, downtrodden
Oh, no.
organizations with incompetent leadership like Husker football, boys.
You kind of did the Greg and Myrtle Beach
Yeah.
accent.
I didn't want to go all the way there. I didn't want to go all the way there. Husker football.
Who would he be? Is he talking about
Middle
the
school
his
rule.
failed ownership of the World Herald?
He's talking about middle school rule. By the way, Travis writes in,
Hi, Travis.
for Warren Buffett, we always had to stock up on cherry Coke whenever he came into the
That's
restaurant.
right.
Whoa. Which restaurant?
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's fruit on a basket.
Wow.
Wow.
There you go.
Thank you. My wife of 4 years.
Is she trying to send you a message? There's no chocolate on there.
She said, LOL. The 4-year anniversary thing was fruit.
Were they just leave
And
it?
I
They
did-
was literally just there in front of the door.
I did just get
Oh,
I did just get a doctor's appointment, and they were like, "Yeah, maybe you need to eat a little bit healthier and work out from time to time." So it's possible that this is a part of that.
Wait a minute. They just left it. in
They
the front
literally
door?
just dropped it right
Yeah.
there at the door.
We don't.
We don't have
don't
a
have-
person
But
to
we have
go
a
get it.
We have a doorbell, right?
We have a doorbell. We have several other people working in the building, allegedly, when it's not raining.
Like, what if you just?
Jeez, Josh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. That was inappropriate. of me. Forecasted to rain.
What if you would not have known that was coming?
I'm glad I answered that call.
I'm glad you answered it twice.
Boy, I sure am glad I called that
That guy.
guy.
I would also like to thank your wife because I imagine I'm going to get at least one piece of fruit out of this.
Thank you, my wife. It's impossible to open those, so take
Yeah.
it back.
Good.
Send it back.
Jeez.
Hey,
Pineapples, cantaloupes, honeydew. Who's eating the honeydew?
I'll eat the honeydew.
Oh, really? You a honeydew guy?
I love honeydew.
Interesting. That you don't hear that a lot.
I hate
No,
cantaloupe.
I love honeydew. We get like some of my dad's favorite fruit is honeydew, so I always had it there. Look at that strawberry. Wow, you attacked that with aggressiveness, dude. You really slashed
got
your
it-
way
you
to the
got in
paint
there.
with
Wow.
that strawberry.
Yeah, I dug a hole in it.
You held nothing back.
that is the number one power rating.
Strawberry?
Yeah.
Strawberry, pineapple, honeydew. That's it. It's kind of weak. I wonder how much this costs.
Did you say it was weak? Did you just say your wife's gift to you? Which, by the way, you haven't given her a gift.
Well, the
is
gift
weak.
the gift is great, but
The gift is the child.
No, that's why I said to you. I go, is she trying to send a message? Because there's no chocolate on there.
edible arrangement.
Yeah, but you said chocolate strawberries.
Well,
They have that as an option.
that's kind of what I assumed, but
I think it would have been melted by
It's
now.
not
It's a good
chocolate.
thing.
It's not.
Yeah, how long do you
chocolate-covered
think that
fruit.
was sitting out there?
I bet this costs. Well, I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
$24.99.
No, it's way more expensive than you think it is.
Really? You know, I bought roses for somebody,
Look at this,
and
little
I
cute
realized how I
little-
didn't realize how expensive flowers were. Flowers can run you, man.
Jackie, my wife says I got one of the cheapest ones
We can.
because this is a joke. This is a bit,
Oh,
but
Is it?
kind of. I mean, it's also a gift.
Hey, when I said that I liked honeydew, I meant like give me a honeydew.
All right,
please.
I'll get you a little honeydew. You want me to pull it off the stick for you?
Yeah.
No,
Honey-
no, you got to eat it on the stick.
Yeah. No, that's what. No, give me
No,
the
no,
full
eat it off the
stick.
stick.
Nope. Here you go. Anybody else? You want a little part of a cantaloupe?
No, I do like the strawberry, but that is your favorite.
Yeah, I'm going after the
I'll
strawberries.
take a pineapple.
Strawberries are not for sale. The whole, I don't know if you can have the whole pineapple flower. See if we can find you something else in here, Gary. I do have the lettuce on the bottom.
You know what? Save that for
That's kale.
Save
That's
that
not
for
lettuce,
the
that's
afternoon,
kale.
guys.
Whatever, lettuce. Some kind of lettuce. It's green, so it's lettuce to me.
Maybe you can give John Bishop some virtual kale.
Poor guy. I'd love to help out.
He needs an edible arrangement.
I'd love to help out John Bishop in any way I
It would
possibly
lift his
could.
spirits.
Yeah, but I can't. This is a big strawberry.
Strawberries are number one on the power rating of the edible arrangements.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you, Jackie. Happy anniversary.
They're better when they're
4 years.
Just think what we're doing in year 5.
Dinner's on me this weekend.
Oh,
All right.
That's it.
We're going to Broncos.
No, we're going big.
You're going to Texas Roadhouse.
Well, not going to Texas Roadhouse.
now the 5th
We might be
anniversary
hanging out
gift-
with some Berkshire people this weekend.
Yes, you will.
Mhm.
Wood is the 5th anniversary gift.
Huh.
Well, we're kind of painting our deck right now. So
Okay.
does that count? That's
Wood. What would you give? There's no wood and edible arrangements. What would you?
Doesn't have to be edible.
I prefer everything to be edible.
Usually wood is.
Certain types of wood can be.
Beavers,
Exactly.
woodchucks,
That's how they live.
termites.
That's how they live.
How about that graphic from On 3?
Wood. I still have that locked and loaded, baby. That wood
What if-
graphic is in its own separate album. So
What if
whenever I
you-
want it.
What if you bought for your lovely wife a billboard and it just had wood?
That'd be awesome. That'd be pretty funny. Maybe I will. And then I'll make one for you too with Livy Dunn.
Well, thank you.
All right.
And make one for me with Jules Gunn.
With Jules Dunn, of course.
Enjoy
All right.
your edible arrangements.
You guys have a great day.
Are you gonna eat through it the entire show?
Yeah, I'll try not to eat while we're on there, but this is a crossover. It's very informal. So I figured I'd
And
eat.
sloppy.
I figured
according to
I'd eat
Josh.
3
According to
strawberries.
Josh, when he gives me the wrong Berkshire Hathaway
I was
price.
quoting him the wrong
That's what I
prices
thought,
on the
yeah.
Berkeys.
Yeah,
I just
stonk.
typed in the stock price and read it on the air.
We'll get you over to Borsheim's.
I'm okay.
They got a bunch of glass stuff.
I don't need glass stuff. I break things.
That
That makes sense.
That tracks actually.
He breaks things and won't watch a show with you. Gee, wonder why his relationship didn't work out.
Battleship.
No edible arrangement for you.
That's the crossover powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. It is Thursday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Thursday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. What we doing out there, everybody? It's edible arrangement day. Josh, yeah, you're right. You're going to get some pineapple out of this.
Pineapple.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Sipple. You're going to get some pineapple out of this, maybe some honeydew. You know what? I'll even get you. I'm taking that last strawberry. I might, Josh, I am greatly and deeply appreciative of you for all your hard work during this period of time, and really always.
Really glad I came in today.
And yeah, were you considering calling out?
I tried to not, yes.
Jeez, I don't need to know that. So you know what? I got a whole pineapple flower for you.
Pineapple. Oh, let's go.
Yeah, that's right.
What a day.
It's the least I could do, Josh. It's the least I could do.
Now, here's the difference between, I guess Gary didn't ask for the strawberry either. I would never ask for the strawberry.
Yeah, that one's claimed. I'm sorry. He did. He asked for the pineapple flower, but I'm going to have the other pineapple flower, and I'll get you a pineapple flower.
Just a couple of guys splitting pineapple flowers.
A couple of dudes splitting an edible arrangement from one of the dudes' wives.
Totally normal.
Because it's their 4-year anniversary. Happy anniversary to my lovely wife. I'm excited to celebrate this weekend when I don't have to do any baseball games.
Creighton finally packing up and hitting the road after a home April.
They went to they were at the Billies last night, the majority of the baseball team. And when we kind of dismissed, I felt like almost a teacher. By the way, Lance Robbie, who does PA for the volleyball team and the women's basketball team, he is a teacher for his day job. It was an event that was perfectly made for him. He was fantastic. He was unbelievable last night.
Now, Connor,
he was so good.
What are the Billies?
The Billies are the Creighton University Athletic Department award show, student athlete award show. So we set it up like it was, and this is, I believe, Joe Willman's idea. So shout out to Joe. A late night talk show. There was a desk, and a couch, and yeah, it was
good format, good bit.
Right, it's something a little bit different. It's not your hey, we're gonna step up to the podium and do this and this and this and whatever. And it was good. But anyway, fun night. Thanks to Creighton for having me out, and an excuse to put on a suit. And the Creighton baseball team, who, as you mentioned, has been home for the entire month of April, has decided that they are going to actually play a game on the road coming up this weekend. They had a very, very, very early flight out of Omaha as all the Berkeys were coming in this weekend.
Sure.
And they were dismissed first. I felt like a teacher at a field trip. This class can get up now, go take the first bus back to campus, because they had I believe they had a 4 a.m. wake up call.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, the Blue Jays.
Difficult at that age.
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of malleable, right?
Yeah.
They could figure it out.
Sleep on the plane, whatever. I'll stay up all night.
Yeah, but they had an early flight en route to Indianapolis. I don't think you can get to Indianapolis directly from here, but en route somehow.
It's 2025.
It's amazing.
I just want to get to where I'm going.
Omaha will one day have a real life airport, but that day is not here.
And you can get Block 16 at the airport.
Yep. That day has not arrived yet. We're getting there. As some of the visitors from around the country and around the world will notice this weekend. As Carl from Succession would say, our airport is heavily bleeping delayed. Heavily delayed at this point.
That's what progress looks like for 2 years.
It's going to be hard, but it'll be worth it.
Also, have you seen our pit at 72nd and Dodge?
We got one of those. That's progress. Jacob Padilla is going to join the show coming up at 11. And Michael Brunt, speaking of traveling, is out of town for the next couple weeks here. Wow. So we will go Bruntsless. But we'll have an hour or 20 minutes of Jacob Padilla. Maybe he'll say, "Roll Jays, go baseball" again. Who knows?
I mean, I'd like him to not repeat himself, but
That's a good line, though.
it is. Great line.
That's the lineup, powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'd like to hear from you all today on the show. 402-951-1620. On the hotline, call or text that number. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josho at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. I just saw your graphic, Josh.
Oh,
They're not all rich. Maybe some common folk.
just maybe on that baby stock. Ain't no common folk with a stock.
So everybody in Omaha. If you're from Omaha, if you've been here for your entire, you got a little slice of that pie, don't you? You got a little,
Okay, here's the weird thing
you got
about
a little
that.
stonk, Josh.
I don't have any of the Berkshire stock or any of the.
You got a Berkey B?
No, but
Baby B?
every year, if I want an NFM badge, I know how to get one.
Everybody
Everyone
knows,
in town.
Yeah, they get you something.
Hey, can I get that badge
Can I
for
get
a couple hours Saturday?
Can I get into the little soiree over at where's what
the Drover?
no
Borsheim's?
yeah, Borsheim's, but what is the area of town that's in?
Regency?
Regency. Thank you. Sorry. I get into a little soiree over there at Regency.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I got you. They got mimosas on deck over there. You can email the Equitable Bank inbox, Connor Josho at 1620thezone.com. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. What's up, brother? I guess it was that guy's birthday a couple days ago, as Josh reminded me of.
He's looking for content, and Sketch's birthday didn't make the
Hey,
cut.
Everybody's looking for content these days.
That's right.
That's why we're going to get some run out of my fruit basket today.
Hell yeah.
Also, when we come back, it is May. We have turned the calendar to a new month. So I went through last night and tried to find some bullet points of what we can expect this month as we trudge into the off season and like what are some of the things that we are going to end up talking about this month. I have a pretty good list for you. And we'll basically, you know what? Yeah. I don't know how much this really drives the clicks or anything like that, but it's our May preview. When you put on a podcast segment, when you put like preview and wrap up and stuff like that doesn't really get the people going. But what if I did it for the entire month?
What if I could tell you everything you're going to talk about for the next 30 days?
Yeah, I it's not an exhaustive list because you never know, but I got a pretty good idea.
No one else has given you this.
No, it's the May preview. Before we talk to Jacob Padilla, glad you're with us on this Thursday. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Heard from our reporter, Matt McMaster. We directed him after the segment, after the crossover, to go over to, we're very close to Warren Buffett's house here in the Dundee area. And I said, why don't you get a little bit of Omaha history? Why don't you go over there and just, see what you could see? And I didn't give him real specific directions. I said, go across Dodge, go to Farnham, go west, and you'll probably see something, right?
There will be people milling about a house.
Now, what I didn't tell him was that the house is incredibly unassuming and it looks like every other house that's in there.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think one of the 10 richest people in the world lived there.
But I figure, okay, he'll see people, so he'll see that something is going on. So I've heard from Matt. He said, I couldn't find it. I'm a dumbass. And I said, that's a pretty unassuming house. You didn't see any gatherings of people. I guess it's possible that they're not there yet, although unlikely. Maybe tomorrow is the day. He said, no, I did not. Saw nothing. Looked like a bunch of regular old houses. The guy having everyone gather around his house is crazy. Who is he? Abraham Lincoln?
Weird count.
I don't know why people go to his house.
Because it's accessible, right?
I guess.
I'm here because of him. His house is accessible. I don't know what else to do while I'm in town. I'll drive by that house.
That's always been a little bit funny to me, that they go to his house. But they do. They do. Now, I didn't see the stanchions out there this morning and the rope. So maybe that's a tomorrow morning
That'll
thing.
definitely be a tomorrow thing.
Okay.
Probably doing it right now. Probably this afternoon. It's on the docket.
Yeah, the flights probably get in this afternoon. Nobody there that early this morning. Okay, welcome back to the show, everybody. We have plenty to get into today, including Nebraska's falling short on Marty Brown, the running back position overall. We're going to talk about LeBron James today. Yeah, LeBron James.
What are we one of the chit chat shows now?
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. In the absence of other things to talk about, we've become a chit chat show. We could always go to the chit chat show style, Josh.
We could.
Mr. Yogurt went on the radio last night. Josh wants me to read a story about Bill Belichick's girlfriend. This story just keeps on going.
She's doing something.
Yeah.
I think she has a plan.
We have I want to dust off something. Speaking of Berkshire Hathaway, this weekend I want to dust off a guide to Omaha.
Oh, yes.
Remember the guide to Omaha from the North Carolina people from last year?
I do.
That was great. That was excellent time. So we're going to dust that one off today. But I figured for this couple minutes before we talk to Jacob Padilla, I wanted to just, kind of set the table here for the month of May. It's the college football off season. It's postseason baseball has started to heat up. We're kind of gearing up for the College World Series a little bit. I don't know that you could really see that functionally happening until it actually does happen. But, the weather's getting nice and there's just different things going on around Omaha in the summer. So this is a very local sports talk show. So I wanted to go ahead and it's cyclical in a way as well. Whatever we talked about last May is probably, those are some benchmarks that'll come up this May. And
a lot of the things we do are cyclical.
100%. Yeah, no doubt about it. Especially we go along with the college football calendar and all those things. So I wanted to highlight a couple of the things that we'll likely be talking about here in the month of May. This is your May preview. We should do a preview every month.
We should.
Assuming I won't forget on June 1st, which is highly likely.
Now, theoretically,
June 1st is a Sunday, by the way.
If we're doing our jobs right, wouldn't the top 5 poll questions of the month trigger a reminder in your brain? Okay, on tomorrow's show, we need to do
June preview.
The preview.
Okay, so the loose idea would be when we come back from the weekend on June 2nd, we do the top 5 poll questions of the month. And then the next day, my brain will be triggered into remembering to do a June preview on June 3rd. That's how this is supposed to go.
For 2 weeks of radio for you.
Well, no, it's June. It's not a June.
It's not a Connor Happer show preview.
No, it's a June preview. Like this is the May preview.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So went back and looked at some of the things that we did on this show last year during May. Last year, I tier listed all of the attractions at the zoo, which got a lot of conversation going about the pandas and and all the attractions that you can find at Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo.
I heard the Kelseys broke it down on New Heights yesterday.
I made a tier list and it generated some conversation on the internet, which was nice. Last year, I also looked at the Big Ten tournament weather on my iPhone weather app and took a screenshot, and people got really mad at me for using the iPhone weather app.
I remember this.
I
saw it in the rundown.
They were chasing me down, and they were like, "I can't believe you used this stupid app. It's so bad and wrong."
I'm like, so it's a notoriously bad app.
I didn't know that. So a lesson for this May, when the weather's a little wonky, and especially when the Big Ten baseball tournament comes up, and we'll have something on that in a second. Don't use the iPhone. If you're going to do a screenshot, don't use the iPhone weather app because you'll get ripped online. Just a note.
You don't want to get ripped online.
You don't want to get ripped online. Speaking of baseball, a lot of things happening with college baseball. Gabe Swanson's going to get really hot this month.
It's happened the last 2 Mays.
It's going to happen for Nebraska baseball. Gabe Swanson will hit roughly 550 this May. So get ready for that. Also, college baseball postseason, when we get into the Big Ten tournament, when we get into regionals and super regionals, I will spend a lot of my time in late May, which is around the time of both of our birthdays, Josh.
That's right.
I will spend a lot of my time in that part of the month arguing with college baseball fans who have ducked in at this portion of the year to argue with them about how to use ace pitchers in conference tournaments and regionals and how many pitches they can throw in a short period of time. Truly one of the worst experiences I have every single year.
You can't go over 100 pitches. You just can't go over 100.
I was looking at this last year, and I mildly suggested that Nebraska should bring in Brett Sears and they ended up doing so. Like, he's an All-American pitcher. They ended up bringing him in for the ninth inning. I'm like, I think you got to get him going. And this was in like the 6th inning. I think you got to shoot that shot right now. Go for it. People are like, we can't do anything. We can't mess things up for the regionals. And I'm like, this doesn't mess anything up for the regionals. It's next weekend. He's going to throw 15 pitches.
He's got a week off.
You just won a Big Ten championship game with your best pitcher on the mound, and he threw 10 pitches. It doesn't mess anything up. So truly a horrendous and horrific experience. That'll be coming up at the end of this month.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it again.
1 year ago today, we learned that Ryan Kalkbrenner announced that he was coming back to Creighton. He will not be announcing that this year.
You don't know that.
I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess.
Eligibility is a construct.
I did see it. I did see a video from Stephen Ashworth that he sent in last night, and he was dressed for the job that he wants.
Stephen Ashworth!
Exactly.
Stephen Ashworth!
Fedor was there, and he was yelling about it the entire time. It's like, oh my God, I know that guy, Stephen Ashworth. So Ryan Kalkbrenner announced that he was coming back a year ago today on Twitter. Scotty Scheffler got arrested in May.
People forget.
I don't think that's going to happen again, but I thought that I would note it. And then as far as the college football calendar is concerned, last year, the conversation point on Nebraska football that dominated the month of May was the fact that we started to gather the information, and we eventually did, that the Colorado game would be a nighttime NBC kickoff. We did not know that Paul Burmeister and Colt McCoy would be doing the game, but
Paul.
We were excited that that game would be a night game. So, the Michigan game, or the Michigan game is sort of the Colorado game of this year, right? Maybe we start to get some information about TV times and things like that. It's all coming up here in the month of May.
Earlier this week, Oregon State released the vast majority of their kick times and TV networks. So,
because they probably are in control of that because they're all in the CW, right?
Sure. A lot of them were, yes, Connor.
interesting.
So it's it's coming.
Nebraska's not in control of any of it. They are told when to play. So maybe we find out some of those things here in the month of May.
And then in that sort of that same timeline, we get to have the fun conversations of, well, how big a brand is Nebraska, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But you're comparing it against like other games, So we'll see. We'll see what and people will be having the conversation of like, if College Game Day would come to Lincoln, what is the most likely game that they would come to Lincoln during? And I would say, I'm going to kill myself. And that's it.
Not every conversation we're going to have this month is fun.
Oh, no. Not every conversation is fun. Not every conversation is even worth having. But they will indeed be had. Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
Why are we going over what happened last year? Jeff, because last year informs this year.
Yeah.
Because it's all cyclical. And we do the same things over and over and over again. Haven't you noticed by now? Nothing is new.
Don't you think there's going to be weather during the Big Ten baseball tournament this year? There will be.
There will be. There will be. There will be a conversation about when to use Will Walsh and how many times they should use Will Walsh. I'm telling you this right now. It will happen, and I will be mad. I will be incredibly mad on the internet during the latter portion of this month. There's your May preview. If you would like to sponsor our June preview, just get in touch with NRG Media Omaha.
That's right.
You can send us fruit baskets or sponsor our June preview.
Tape a letter to the front door.
As well. Tape a cheetah to her back. Jacob Padilla joins us on the other side. What does Jacob Padilla want to talk about in May? He's got AAU basketball trips all over the board.
NBA
playoffs.
Not involving his team.
LeBron, chit-chat shows.
Ooh.
Creighton, volleyball, things of that nature. All coming up with Jacob Padilla next on 1620 The Zone.
And now, the only cure for our basketball Jones. Hail Varsity's Jacob Padilla on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Baby.
All right, we're joined now by Jacob Padilla of Herd at Sports on the hotline. Hi, Jacob. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Connor. I'm doing all right.
What's May all about for you? When the calendar turns to May, what does Jacob Padilla start to think about?
Yeah, like you said, just mostly a lot of AU basketball. Got 3 trips this month. Back into it after a couple weekends off. So I'll be in Kansas City this weekend, Kansas City next, and then Wichita the week after that. So that's what a lot of it is. We're starting to kind of wind down the transfer portal activity for college basketball. That's kind of what's been locked into for the last couple months. It's starting to get to that point where things slow down a bit for me, at least.
We're getting, exactly. But that's a lot of travel over the weekends. And as you proclaimed last week, you were a huge baseball fan. So we figured we'd ask you a baseball question. And today's baseball question to Jacob Padilla comes from Platcat, who thinks that we should ask Jacob about how long Bobby Witt Jr. can keep this hit streak going.
Where is he at?
He hit in his 21st game in a row last night.
It's over. Next game is done.
No! I didn't think you were going to say that. My thought was you were going to say something drastically like over the all-time record, and that would have been funny. But wow, you're down on Bobby Witt. You think the hitting streak is over?
I like to keep you on your toes, Connor.
Yeah, good. Do you know what the record is? How many games in a row the MLB hit streak is?
No clue.
Okay. Here's your baseball nugget of the day. Tell this to your friends. 56 games in a row by Joe DiMaggio. You tell all your basketball people this weekend in Kansas City, you say, guess what I learned? Joe DiMaggio hit in 56 straight games, and that is the record for the long, and nobody's come close for like a long, long time.
Yeah, that's like a third of the season. I can imagine why nobody's approached it.
Exactly. Like, I think Luis Castillo had like a 40-game hit streak one time. That was a long, long, long time ago. But Bobby Witt Jr. is at 21, and you think it's going to end there. Okay. Very, very interesting as we're chatting with Jacob Padilla of Herd at Sports. Okay, so let's do the NBA first. The Chit Chat shows are all talking about LeBron James today, and people forget, Jacob, that he is indeed 40 years old. He is 40 years old. So they're asking if, I'm not asking this, but people are asking if the LeBron championship window is closed.
Probably. Just because, they're the Lakers, so things tend to just happen for them for some reason. So you can't necessarily discount something weird happening next year. Yep. But I think they're at facing such an uphill climb to catch up to the true contenders at this point. And those, we'll see how Boston kind of keeps this together over the next few years as kind of they got to make some decisions and guys start to age a little bit. And OKC is still kind of in that window where they'll have to make some decisions at some point here, but they've got enough guys that are young enough and on rookie contracts to kind of keep that thing together for a bit. And obviously they've got the assets to do whatever they want on the trade market, because I don't know how they still have so many picks, but it seems like they do. So it's just going to be hard for them to, even with Luka and LeBron, to make enough moves to catch up to the true contenders, I think. what he's doing at his age is still remarkable.
It
but
is.
Like you said, he is 40, and that the Luka move was not necessarily to improve their immediate championship odds. It's like, if we can get Luka Doncic, we have to, and then we'll figure it out. But obviously, with LeBron, you don't have time to figure it out. You got to make your moves right now, and we saw them try to make a move at the deadline to further bolster the roster, and decided, well, no, we can't do this, and then got stuck with an unplayable starting center and no backups, which turned out to be a problem in the playoffs.
Yep, that's a bad deal. You're going to want to have a better team than that outside of those two guys. Did you enjoy, I don't know how much you get into this conversation, but did you enjoy basically his last act last night being laying on the floor, writhing in pain, even though it didn't even seem like he got hurt at all?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Questionable.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. the biggest, strongest dude you've ever seen. Doesn't deal with pain well, but at the same time, he plays through, like, again, until
he always comes back. He always comes back right away. It's just the initial injury. You would think that something is very serious every time.
And it did look weird, like the knee-to-knee contact on the side of the knee. Like, okay, I could see something happen that time compared to some of the other times that he's ended up on the ground. So, like, that one's more understandable. And but yeah, he's an interesting character. The TNT graphic Crash Out King, though.
It's pretty good.
That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, way to be hip with the current lingo, TNT producers.
One more NBA for you. If Jamal Murray is this hot, can the Nuggets actually make some noise here?
Yes. Like, that's I don't know how much noise. Again, at a certain point, as we saw with the Lakers against the Timberwolves, you have to have enough players that you can put on the court for the full 48 that don't hurt you. And Denver still doesn't have that.
A little short.
Like, their minutes without Jokic are a disaster. And even with Jokic out there and their starting five, like, they're still, like, anytime they got a sub, then it's pretty questionable. And but part of the problem with I think the way that Denver has looked is because kind of the volatility of Murray and his game, and that's what we've seen in the past. When he's on a heater like he was, there's not a whole lot defensively you can do about it because he takes such hard shots. All the contested mid-range pull-ups, deep threes, all that stuff. Like, when it's going in, like, there's not a whole lot you can do against him, especially because he's playing off of one of the best offensive players we've ever seen, one of the most creative. So yeah, when he's playing at a really high level, then you've got a bona fide superstar duo. He just can't get that. He's just down a level or two from being able to do that as consistently as the true superstars. So there is volatility there, but yeah, I mean, they're dangerous when he can get into a rhythm like that, because again, you got to do whatever you can to deal with Jokic. And then you've got this guy hitting every shot he takes, no matter what you do against him. Like, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some Creighton, as we haven't talked Jacob since the addition. I know we talked about Blake Harper last week and over the last couple of weeks, but now he is officially in the boat, and we have a really good picture of what Creighton's roster is going to look like. You broke it down on Twitter after the commitment from Harper, just sort of what they have at each position. All right, so we refresh the same question again. I mean, this looks like it's a full team in terms of guys that are going to be contending for minutes, I think. But also, you noted, I mean, there is some real youth here and some potential upward trajectory as well. Like, as you look at Creighton's roster right now, what is maybe the thing that excites you the most?
Yeah, I just, on that point, I think you never know, like, year to year, how long a guy's going to stay, especially if they aren't featured pieces right away. But if, like, the part of the recruitment process was that these guys understand what the deal is and what they can be to this program long term. You've got guys like Austin Swartz and Blake Harper, obviously Hudson Greer as a freshman coming in. You got all these guys that maybe aren't going to play huge. Like Harper will be interesting to see kind of what his role ends up being, but like Swartz and Greer in particular and guys like that, they probably aren't going to be huge pieces of the team this year. But if they really buy into the development and the training and learn from these guys, like you got some veterans on this team that are going to be gone next year, and there are going to be some roles up for grabs, and obviously a lot more playing time and shots to go around next season. So if those guys really buy into kind of playing their role this year and learning the Creighton system and how they do things and buying in the strength and conditioning program, particularly, like these guys have a chance to next year to really step into huge roles and to kind of form a really impressive core moving forward as he transitioned into the Allen Huss era. So I think that's kind of the most impressive thing. Again, you can't count on these guys being here in 2 or 3 years, but if they are and if things go well, I think they successfully navigated this offseason where you kind of went all in and went after a bunch of dudes here for the end of the MAC era, but you also are establishing a kind of core for the future to make sure that Huss has some key guys to build around as he kind of starts to make the program his own. So just I think pretty impressive what they did. There's still some question marks, obviously, defense, overall athleticism, in terms of can they compete with the best in the country. But this team should be a whole lot of fun to watch with the offensive talent on it.
I don't know how far you've dove into Harper individually yet, but what sticks out to you about, I mean, obviously the production at Howard last year was one thing. You wonder how that's going to translate and sort of where he finds himself in the mix, but what sticks out to you about his game that could potentially translate to this level?
Yeah. I think interesting, like you said, both the role and the competition level is going to be significantly different than he had at Howard, where he was the dude. He didn't necessarily have a ton around him. Now he's going to have a lot more offensive talent around him. So what does that translate into? Better efficiency, but less production? Where do you find that kind of that middle ground between that? But he's a pretty skilled dude. He can shoot the ball quite well. It's not high volume, but shot 49% on unguarded catch and shoot threes last year. And obviously he probably didn't have a whole lot of guys that were creating for him on that team.
Right.
So you would think there's a chance to get a lot more opportunities like that within Creighton's system and the players he'll be playing with. I think he's also a guy that's kind of been a late bloomer physically. He kind of shot up, got a lot taller over the last couple of years, and don't know that he's like you look at his body type, and I think there's some work to do there still. So like if he's a guy that if he comes in and again works hard with Jeremy Anderson, I think there's some more potential to untap there. Just from an athletic finishing standpoint, he wasn't a great finisher. It's like 50% at the rim at Howard. And that's, again, kind of similar to Nick Graves, where you wonder, all right, how much of this is his true ability versus how much of that the situation in the team and not necessarily having guys to spread the floor that other teams and teams really kind of hone in on him and crowd him. But I do think there's probably, as he continues to mature and develop, and if he attacks the weight room hard, I think there's still some untapped potential there from an athletic standpoint to kind of round out his game. So yeah, we'll have to see once he gets onto the practice court with Creighton and starts competing with these other guys. All right, where does he fall in the pecking order? But I'm excited about his future in the program if he really attacks it.
One more spot out there for Creighton is, I mean, we'll see what they end up doing, or if they put it in their back pocket, or what happens. Like, is there any guesses about what they might be after for that final spot?
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the roster. I think another big, if they are still trying to add to guys that you might rely on. another big could be, because right now you've got Owen Freeman, and we'll see how many minutes he plays. You got Alexa Dimitrievich, true freshman coming in. Like, what role is he going to be ready for? Then you've got some combination on small ball with Isaac Trout, Jason Green, to kind of fill the other minutes depending on how you choose to go there. So like, you could be well served to just add another body to that mix, both for practice purposes and in case of injury. But beyond that, I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if they just kind of go add, whether like a Sterling Knox caliber player or a True Walken or somebody to kind of just fill that 15th spot to help with the scout team more so than, because I think you've got, like, if they go out and find someone that's actually going to play real minutes for them, when they're already in a minutes crunch, I don't know that it's necessary, but at the same time, like, they went out and added Harper after we thought that they were pretty set with what they have. So won't be shocked if they find a big to add or something. I'm sure they'll stay active, but I will be curious to see, because again, how do you fill out those last few spots on the roster? It's got kind of two scout team guys right now on the team, in Shane Thomas and Josh Townley Thomas. And so do you kind of add another guy in that mold, or do you go out and try to attract a scholarship level guy that you have to pay for, to add even further depth? Like, those are the decisions that Creighton and all these programs are having to make. It's like, all right, how do we find the perfect roster balance to try to keep guys happy, to build the amount of depth that we need, that we feel comfortable with? And then from a resource standpoint, like, how much, what resources do we want to put into the 13th roster spot? So the first year, and honestly, we're operating as if this whole thing's going to pass, but it still hasn't.
I know.
So, as of now, the 15 roster spots, 15 scholarships available, that hasn't actually kicked in just yet.
Yeah. Maybe you'd be best served to just kind of, hang on for a minute. I don't know.
Yeah. So
all right.
Fascinating move forward, seeing roster construction, how coaching staffs go about it.
No doubt. Jacob, one more for you. Volleyball. Nebraska volleyball over the weekend. They played 4 sets against Kansas and won them all. I think I watched the Andy Jackson back row swing like 4 times. And then you had a tweet. I didn't actually see this one, but you had a tweet during the game that Harper Murray hit a volleyball so hard it sounded like it exploded. It popped. I mean, what was your takeaway from what Nebraska volleyball is going to bring to the table this year in terms of that talent level?
Yeah, well, I think, Danny Buster Kelly talked about it in their close scrimmage with Omaha, and then we kind of saw it again in person. It's whatever combination they threw out there looked pretty good. It seemed to click pretty well, and they weren't necessarily consistently dominant on both sides or both ends. From start to finish, like, there are a couple of stretches there where they struggled offensively, a couple stretches where they weren't really getting a whole lot of stops defensively, and Kansas was hitting at a high rate. But all 4 sets, Nebraska came out on top, and they did whatever they were doing. They did it better than Kansas. And again, they rotated different lineups every single set. They basically put everybody in every position they could potentially see this coming season, and I think everybody showed some highlights there. I think Ryan Hunter, I think, stole the show a little bit. The true freshman coming off the ACL tear, did not look like she was playing in her first public match in over a year. So that certainly makes things interesting, especially with Ali Chet coming in. I think we're kind of wondering, like, I wonder what Allie is thinking that she's sitting here watching this. 'Cause that's her competition, and hasn't necessarily. She's still finishing up at Baylor, but they got some options. The libero, like Olivia Mock and Lainey Choboy. Like, I think John Cook talked about too. Like, that's the storyline that he's most interested in, is who wins that and why. He's going to be interested to kind of hear the answer of how that whole thing sorts out, because they both look pretty good. Completely different personalities. Strengths are slightly different, but they're both good in the area where the other is strongest, I think, as well. So I think there's still some questions about who's going to play where. You feel good about the middles. They certainly played at a really high level, and that's another thing that Danny pointed out, is like that's been a major focus, and it was good to see it kind of play out in the live action. Rebecca Alec was awesome, and Andy Jackson was Andy Jackson plus the back row kill that you talked about. So Danny's got a lot of options. Certainly going to be some competitions in practice this summer heading into the season, and so be interesting to see kind of the decisions she makes in terms of who lands where in the rotation.
All right, Jacob. Appreciate it as always. We'll let you go. Great stuff, and enjoy your weekend. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
That is Jacob Padilla of Herd at Sports. No Roll Jays Go baseball this time.
He did curse your.
Nobody got in his ear. Yeah, what the hell?
Your sweet baby boy, Bobby.
What was that? Thank you for reminding me of that.
And we're gonna find out. They play pregame starts in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, do you want me to flip it over to the FanDuel?
I kind of do.
You want to watch the pregame show for the Kansas City Royals against the Tampa Bay Rays?
It is better than Pat talking to Shams.
Did you see the video of Shams at the Cubs game?
I saw he threw out the first pitch. I never saw the pitch though.
I didn't see.
I'm guessing it went poorly. Well, if I didn't see it, I'm guessing it went.
I saw him.
Fine.
I'm sure it did. I didn't see the video of the pitch either. I saw the video of him walking up the stands afterwards, and people are insane, and they just bring out their phones and then they start shouting things at people, specifically celebrities, to try and get results. And the guy, sitting right by him, or as he was walking up the way there, he goes, "Hey, Shams, what's the biggest trade you've ever broke?" And he was like, "The next one," or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, damn, he kind of does have it, doesn't
That's
he?
cold.
It's like he's kind of got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Shams. I see what you're working with. All right, we'll be back. Plenty more to come on this Thursday. Still want to hear from you guys on the show. It is the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Curtis writes in on Twitter.
Hello, Curtis.
Why is this guy, Jacob Padilla, on here talking about Creighton basketball in May? Doesn't he know there are other sports to talk about that matter right now? It's very interesting. It's very interesting considering a conversation that we've had recently about football and things of that nature.
We talked in. It was a very wide-ranging interview. We talked about Bobby Witt Jr.'s hit streak.
Going
on.
To answer the question legitimately, it's because I asked him about Creighton. That's why he was talking about Creighton. And if you would like more Creighton coverage, guess what? Coach McDermott is coming on the show today on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Mr. Mac himself.
Wow. Return of the Mac, you could say.
Now, we'll find out what he knows on the John Bishop injury front.
He's going to...
They're
pretty jokey. Are they gonna... Is he gonna...
I don't know. I regaled a couple of Mac's staff members last night with the tale of John Bishop falling in his lawn, breaking his wrist into smithereens. But what will that conversation be like? Who's to know? Who's to know, Josh?
I look forward to it.
If I had to guess right now, it's a 20-ish minute conversation, and there's at least 4 to 5 minutes about John falling and maybe 2 additional mentions of John's clumsiness, things of that nature. You know, he likes to throw in the zingers, like he's answering a question about basketball.
Hey, Mac, how you doing? Better than you.
At least I didn't fall over my mower bag.
Yeah. You got to get a guy for that. Shouldn't your kid be mowing for you, John?
John emails in.
Hi, John.
On the, not John Bishop, on the
okay.
Equitable Bank inbox. Okay. Curtis, is today the first time you have listened? Connor and Josh are huge Creighton honks.
What? Why did I honk?
I don't know.
How did I get lumped into this?
I don't know. Connor and Josh, that's what it said.
I heard.
Mike Stibbs writes in.
Hi, Stibbs.
Would be real cool if Mac was on the StreamYard and showed up with a huge foam block on his arm. That would be incredible. We'll have to see. You know, maybe he's listening to the show right now and is starting to, you know, direct people where can I find a foam block?
Need a bunch of foam. Kind of need a rush on it.
You know, they have an entire graphics team and department, social media department over there. It was very busy and hard at work last night at the Billies. Maybe they could whip up a graphic that depicts John Bishop falling in his front yard or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know what they have time for.
Yeah, exactly. They're very, very busy. All right, Josh. So the Chit Chat shows. We're gonna go Chit Chat show for 8 to 10 minutes here.
Whoa.
You ready? That's what I have allotted.
I am
for
running,
this segment.
I am running for president.
8 to 10 minutes of Chit Chat show. Are you ready?
Ready.
I'm not really a LeBron hater, Josh, but there's a couple things.
There's some bugaboos.
There's a couple things. First of all, as I would sort of categorize it the same way that Jacob did in our last segment. I don't know what the deal is with him in the dramatics. I guess he's kind of always been like that. It seems like more so recently, and we know he's always had a flair for the dramatic. Shout out to The Decision, but you know,
very performative.
When he has acted in movies, some would say well, I would say fine.
I would say not well.
You would say not well? I would say he was fine in the movie with Bill Hader.
Oh yeah, the train wreck.
I never saw Space Jam 2.
So you don't watch Space Jam.
I never saw Space Jam 2. If I haven't seen Top Gun 2, I'm not going to see Space Jam 2. Sorry, Sierra Wright.
The actor?
The actor who was in Space Jam 2. I'm not going to see that movie. I apologize. So don't put it on the internet that I'm a LeBron hater. I'm not. I feel like because I am the age that I am, I have to love LeBron. But I don't have to defend him at every turn, because that's when you get into these tricky chit-chat show conversations. I don't know why he does the things he does. I don't know why he falls over and plays dead like some sort of roadkill after he has been bumped into on the basketball court. I don't know why he does this. He is a tank of a human being. But yes, he is 40 years old. People forget that. I could really do without him laying on the floor. Stop laying on the floor. All right. Last night was the perfect exclamation point to the Timberwolves winning. Awoo, by the way, in 5. T-Wolves in 5. When really LeBron's last act was maybe mildly bumping knees with somebody and laying motionless on the ground for upwards of 15 seconds. Motionless, Josh. He had no motion.
No motion.
No motion whatsoever. I was wondering if he was alive. He's fine. He came back in the game a moment later. He left and it came back. He was fine. So much so, this happens with such great frequency that the cameras don't even really follow him anymore. You know, when somebody gets hurt, they're like, "Oh my God, is he going to the bench? Is he going to the locker room? Is he going to the bike? What's he doing?" They don't even care. They don't even watch LeBron anymore on the sidelines. It doesn't seem to matter because they know that he's coming back. So that's number one. And then we have this in this debate in this day and age, Josh, about rings and ring culture and things of that nature. LeBron James has won his fair share of titles, 3. 4. He spent the first 13 years of his career going to the finals 9 times. That's good.
It's a good number.
He won 3 out of those 9 finals. Missed the playoffs as a member of the Lakers in 2019. Won the Mickey Mouse title in 2020. People forget that.
That's right.
Since then, as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, who, yes, admittedly have some struggles upstairs, I think. Some who's in charge here, those type of things. But at the end of the day, they are the Lakers. Since they won the Mickey Mouse title in 2020, they got bounced from the first round, swept in the Western Conference Finals, lost in 5 in the first round, and now lost in 5 again in the first round. And this is he's been playing with Anthony Davis or Luka Doncic this entire time. One wouldn't think that it would be particularly difficult to create a coherent basketball team out of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, Luka Doncic. But that is exactly what the Lakers have not done during LeBron James' time over the last 5 years. So that is a black eye, a bit, a stain, if you will, on his career. I hate to see him go like this. I really do. And for as much as he tries to stay away from the, hey, look, man, I don't make personnel decisions. He even had a line last night of like, somebody asked him how taxing it was on his body that he, has to go through like all this stuff. He's like, hey, man, I don't complain about that because AD tried to do that one time and he got traded. I'm like, LeBron, you're not on the chopping block, bro. You're LeBron effing James. Okay.
They're not drafted your kid.
They drafted your kid who has no business being in the NBA.
Like, okay, let's say that you're not the GM. Let's just take you at face value.
We'll go
they
with you.
Drafted your kid.
We'll go with you on this journey. They drafted your kid.
There's a little bit of kiss the rings going on.
But I'm really not going with him on the whole I'm not the GM journey. It hasn't been good. They haven't been able to create coherent basketball teams, really, that make a lot of sense. And I do think a lot of that is due to LeBron. And he could say he has plausible deniability in all of this. And he could say, look, I'm not the GM. It's not my fault that I went to the Lakers and they could put a championship team around me. It's like, yeah, it actually kind of is.
Kind of is, yeah.
They put a championship team around you everywhere else. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened to LeBron in this Lakers era, but if you put the data together, and maybe if we have 20 years of separation from all this, Josh, you would be able to make the case that LeBron spent the last 5 to 7 years of his career not ring chasing, as was sort of the idea at first, but instead relaxing, chilling in the hills in Los Angeles.
Oh,
and
coasting.
Yeah, setting himself up for his future outside of basketball. I am not making that case on this show today, but I'm telling you that somebody will be making that case. Somebody out there is going to make, don't put it on the internet that I'm making that case. Somebody out there is going to make that case. What has LeBron been cooking? The answer is nothing related to basketball, but maybe a lot of things related to other things that aren't basketball.
Have you been to the movies lately?
He's been in some of those.
Mm-hmm. He's produced many of them.
He's interested in buying franchises, expansion franchises.
Creating his own, yes.
Created his own franchise, stuff like that. We have found that he is interested in other things, and there's no better place to be if you are interested in other things than Los Angeles, which is why we have Sierra right here now. He was interested in football and stopped being interested in the other things.
So he said, get me out of LA.
Get me to where they care about football.
Get me to God's country.
And that's exactly what Sierra Wright said. Get me to God's country. So I hope it doesn't go that way for LeBron. I hope that's not the narrative on him. But I'm also just sad because LeBron James, I mean, I spent my entire, childhood into adulthood watching LeBron James be a championship level player who took his team to the finals almost every single year. And now I have to reconcile as a fan with the fact that that is basically gone.
I understand there are some salary restrictions around.
Nobody else seems to have a problem with it.
But
yeah,
someone needs to sit him down, or he needs to sit someone down and say, I am 40. I will be 41 during the next NBA playoffs.
But does he care that much?
I cannot be dragging the Dorian Finney-Smiths of the world to the finals anymore.
He's the GM.
Yeah.
Does he care?
I don't know.
Because he can say out loud that he wants to win all he wants, but ultimately he is responsible for the people that he plays with.
I mean, he's got that plausible deniability, right? Where like,
I'm not the GM. I'm not the GM. I'm not the GM.
But
yes, you are.
Also, well, the team's good enough, right? We were the 3 seed entering these playoffs. Like, we thought we were going to be well positioned. We don't need to go get someone.
We just happened to lose in 5 games. We just caught the other team caught lightning in a bottle.
That lightning in a bottle is Ant-Man,
and Rudy,
he's a psychopath,
and Rudy Gobert, the COVID man.
The COVID man. Nobody wanted to guard him. He's got COVID.
No, well, he was always going to have a fun time in that series because the Lakers decided to just give away their center for free earlier this year.
It's so funny because so many teams know how to play Rudy Gobert in the playoffs, and the Lakers just didn't. Nah.
We got LeBron and Luka.
We got it.
What can we wrong with that? Charles writes it.
Hi, Charles.
Good line. We compete for rings, and they compete for clicks.
Oh, that's a thing we could say.
These are criticizers of LeBron. Handshake meme, Dan Lanning. Very interesting. I'm just saying, I'm not making that case, but if somebody was, they would probably be saying exactly what I just said.
Are we going to have a 6 or 7 seed in the Western Conference Finals this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems that way. I haven't paid attention to who is seeded what. Honestly, until I looked it up last night, I had no idea that the Lakers were the 3.
Exactly.
So that tells you where we are right now. All right, Chit Chat show's over. Good job, everybody.
Good segment.
Thank you for indulging us. Back after this with the odd news on 1620 The Zone. Good segment.
The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
After further review, the host is deemed to be out of bounds.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Individual results may vary. Prescription required. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
You've noticed your hair is thinning out, or maybe you've noticed your game in the bedroom is getting a bit cold. Let's make this real simple. These are normal things that happen to lots of guys at some point. And through Hims, getting help couldn't be more, as we said, simple. The process is 100% online, so you just have to answer a few simple questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. For your hair, that means access to a range of doctor-trusted treatments designed to help you regrow hair in as few as 3 to 6 months. And for your more intimate moments, that means access to treatments made to give you a boost in the bedroom, like Viagra, Cialis, and their generic counterparts, which can cost up to 95% less through Hims. If prescribed, treatment is shipped right to your door. A few clicks, and you're dealing with these things before they become a thing. So simple. Find your hair.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Okay, it's time for the odd news. Here's Josh Hudson.
Oh, hello. How we doing, everybody?
Good. Excellent.
We're going to start in a place we don't normally start, Utah. Where
Stephen Ashworth?
No. After playing the last season as the Utah Hockey Club, the franchise is planning on announcing a new name ahead of next season.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me what it was.
Well, they might have accidentally leaked it. But the team's YouTube page might have spoiled the name a little earlier than planned. One of the final names, it had 12, and then it was down to 5, and then 3. They narrow it down throughout the season.
Yeah.
Mammoth has always been one of those names, and they changed the name of the YouTube page for the Utah Hockey Club to @UtahMammoth and thought nobody would notice. The channel
nobody would notice.
The channel was soon deactivated and remained so on Wednesday morning. That would be yesterday, but not before screenshots went viral.
Sure.
The local ABC affiliate there discussed the matter with some of the members of the ownership group, and they gave the corporate spin on what happened.
What did they say?
Progress continues on exploring all 3 of the name options that were chosen as finalists by our fans. We're fully on track to announce a permanent name and identity ahead of the next NHL season.
Okay.
My money's on the Mammoth.
Yeah, I would think that they're probably going to be the Mammoth. No, but they're not talking about woolly mammoths, right?
I believe they are, actually.
No, I don't think it's about mammoths. I think it's about like mammoth, the mammoth, isn't there a Mammoth Mountain?
Oh.
Like Mammoth Peak?
Does it mean 2 things?
I think they have like a mammoth, let me check this out.
Okay.
So, yeah, Mammoth Peak.
Okay.
Near Silver City.
So it's a nod to something within the state.
Yeah, I think they're going for like rocks.
Okay.
Like it's a rock.
Like the Minneapolis Lakers made sense. The New
Because of
Orleans
the lakes.
Jazz made sense.
Did the Jazz make sense?
When they were in New Orleans, it did.
The New Orleans Jazz made sense. The Utah Jazz,
not so much.
Maybe less.
The final 3 options for the Utah Hockey Club are to remain the Utah Hockey Club in perpetuity.
So, by the way, the Delta Center where they play, the arena was originally outfitted for basketball will get renovations to make it more hockey friendly.
Hello.
The name in the arena may change. The team's color scheme will remain the same. Here are the colors that they use.
Yeah.
Rock black, salt white, and mountain blue.
Okay.
So I think that's what they mean by Mammoth.
Uh-huh. Utah Mammoth, Utah Hockey Club, and Utah Outlaws are the final three choices.
Gotcha.
Again, my money's on Mammoth.
But the question, is it woolly or not?
Mm-hmm.
Is it woolly or not?
You got to have a woolly mammoth for the kids. My kid loves a woolly mammoth.
People love woolly mammoths,
Mm-hmm.
especially kids.
That's right. We go to Britain for story number 2. A British boy whose seagull imitating skills earned him the nickname Seagull Boy has won his...
Sounds like he works at 1620 The Zone. We would absolutely call that kid Seagull Boy.
Has won his second consecutive title at the European Championship Gull Screeching event in Belgium.
Could you imagine?
Cooper Wallace, 10 years old. What if your 10-year-old said, Dad, can we go to Belgium so I can screech like a seagull?
10 years old is a little old for this.
Oh.
It's a little old for you to be screeching around.
Time to grow up, get a job?
My daughter, her new bit, she's 9 months old, is her new bit is to, whenever she sees like feet or socks or something like that, she screams loudly.
Oh.
She is either scared of them or very interested in them. We can't tell.
Sure.
And I'm sure they mean nothing. None of them mean anything. And but she can really screech with the best of them if she's trying. She's 9 months old. This kid is 10 years. That's too old.
Yeah.
I think 10 years is too old to be competing in a screech contest.
Well, you're not going to like this. The 10-year-old dressed in a seagull costume to perform his bird imitation.
This is possible parental exploitation.
At the Sunday competition, and scored his second consecutive win in the junior category. Connor, that implies that there's an adult category.
Yep. Yeah, that's really bad. But we are definitely dealing with potential child exploitation.
Now, what if I told you this has an origin? His ability to win this competition has an origin story. His seagull screeching career began when he was bitten by one of the birds.
So he's like Spider-Man?
A little bit.
He's Seagull Boy?
His sister also participates in the competition. Her name is Shelby, and they call her Sea Girl.
Sure.
She placed 4th.
Why don't they call her Seagull Girl? A little difficult to say, I suppose.
Yeah.
And this is not good.
No. Finally, we head to Inside the NBA last night.
Didn't watch.
Actually, no, this is not Inside the NBA. This is Charles Barkley.
Oh, is it a podcast?
Yeah, he's always on a pod this time of year. I think it was Dan Patrick's show yesterday. And he said he is, quote, concerned about Bill Belichick and plans on reaching out. He said, well, this is a slippery subject for me because Bill is one of my really good friends. I'm not sure what's going on. He's been a great friend for me for a long time. We've been great friends since he coached for the Browns. I think he got to be very careful right now. This is starting to be on a very slippery slope. He's the greatest football coach ever, him and Nick Saban. From what I'm hearing, it's starting to be a very slippery slope. He keeps saying that. What does it mean?
I don't think he wants to say what he really is trying to say.
We're all thinking it.
Yeah.
We just need Jason Whitlock to say it first.
Is somebody going to say it?
Kramer meme.
Will somebody in sports media say it?
And I never talk about people's personal relationships. That's another rule I got. But I will admit,
a lot of people have that rule, Josh.
I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that's going on. I might actually reach out to him to make sure everything's good.
He should.
He questioned how Belichick can be such a control freak in every other aspect of his life.
It's a great question. That's
and
why
relinquish control here.
That's why it's so disconcerting, because this is totally not him. It's like he's been taken over by a different person. Maybe that's actually happening. I don't know. I think Charles Barkley is right. I think this has grown past the, this is kind of weird to, there should be some concern.
Something's happening here.
Yeah, something is wrong.
I gave Connor a story from the New York Post earlier.
Yeah, we can read that later.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen that, but I'm interested.
Well, it'll make you think some things.
Okay. Along the same lines of what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something's happening.
Fascinating. Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. The noon hour is coming up. We will take a look at that story at some point in the New York Post. But last night, Mr. Yogurt went on the radio and talked about some things. Why does Nebraska need new turf again? Did they need a new turf guy? Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we got a tweet here from, it's an announcement actually from at 1620 The Zone.
Oh, we know them.
On Twitter. Due to unforeseen circumstances that are beyond our control. Unforeseen and beyond our control.
That's right.
So they really want you to know that it's not in 1620 The Zone's control. We have been forced to update our Mo Money graphic, which, by the way, Mo Money is the contest is still going on right now. And you can enter at 1620thezone.com with Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
So easy
to win $5,000 with the Mo Money giveaway at 1620thezone.com. But back to the tweet. We were unable to change the name and the theme of the contest. It is still about Mo Money, and it's still $5,000. However, we did have to change the graphic, and we apologize if someone may be triggered. And I guess I'm having difficulty finding the difference in this graphic from the previous edition. Josh, could you tell me anything about that?
Well, as you know, I'm sure everyone knows, the Mo Money graphic is our 5 station hosts sitting in some of those pop-up lawn chairs as a mower drives by with just spitting out cash all over the
it's
place.
great graphic.
Great graphic. You all are stick figures. It's your heads on stick figure bodies.
Gary, Matt, Connor, John, Josh.
If you'll look at the John Bishop stick figure, we have had to add a rather sizable cast.
Well, if we have to make all these anatomically correct, then we're going to have to do a lot of different things.
Well, if we have a contest related specifically to that person's injury,
put a bunch of tattoos on Josh.
Yeah.
Put a fat belly on me.
Maybe a medal for accomplishing the Boston Marathon around Josh's neck.
Uh-huh.
A fruit basket in your...
Yeah, should we just start adding things to people?
That would be funny.
It's kind of interesting. Mike emailed into the show.
Hi, Mike.
His version of the Mo Money graphic, and I could, if you give me a moment, I could put it up.
Oh yeah, please.
On our YouTube.
I would like the entire audience to just have fun with this contest and this graphic.
Yeah, it's the more the merrier, I suppose. So Mike sent this in via the Equitable Bank inbox. If you're watching along with us on YouTube, here it is.
Get that mower bag away from me.
That's John saying, get that mower bag away from me. And there's a big blue block on his wrist. Now that is interesting. The foam blue block is not depicted in the new real Mo Money graphic.
No.
It's interesting. Okay. All right. So if you have a good Mo Money graphic, you could send it our way at Happer Show. If graphic design is your passion, then we'd love to hear from you. We really, really would. All right. Welcome back. May 1st here in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Welcome to Omaha. If your flight's just arriving from the coast, I'm sure your first thing is to... You think there's people out there who come to Omaha every year and they're like, man, I just love my trip to Omaha every year. I go for the Berkshire meetings every year, and I get in the rental car and I turn on 1620 The Zone. It's the only time I ever listen to 1620 The Zone.
I need
sports talk radio at all. It's just like 1620 The Zone is Omaha to me. I bet there's a bunch of people like that.
There's got to be some people that do that.
I bet there's a bunch of people. So, I don't know. If you're one of those people, we're happy to have you here in our fine city, and enjoy the weekend. Hopefully we get some sun at some point.
I've heard we should be at least dry for the next few days.
And I'm sure if you're listening to us for the first time, you're probably wondering, or the one time a year, you're probably wondering, well, how'd Nebraska football do this year? Well, they went to a bowl game.
And won it.
At
Yankee Stadium.
At Yankee Stadium. You probably should have known. You're probably from New York.
Ever heard of it?
Yeah. They played Boston College, a school you're probably familiar with because all your coworkers went there.
The idiot ones. Am I right?
Nice, Josh.
Couldn't get into an Ivy school.
One. So Nebraska went 7-6. 7 being the key.
That's improvement.
Pay no attention to the 6. 7 wins this year. They beat Wisconsin. That never happens. They lost to Iowa. It was close again. Sad. That one hasn't changed. But people are excited, I think, a little bit about Nebraska football. We'll talk about there's a running back situation that, I'm sure the out-of-towners will be interested in.
Bit of a sitch.
Before we do that, let's go to Mr. Yogurt on the radio last night. Mr. Yogurt, by the way, is Nebraska's athletic director.
Why do you call him Mr. Yogurt,
because
Connor? That seems mean.
Troy Dannon. He is Troy Dannon. I always like watching him, kind of operate, doing stuff, because he's always got his, he's kind of smooth. He's always got his collar popped, like super popped. he always has multiple collars on too. And I think he's got a way with words, he's kind of just smooth navigating his way through questions. And, he has a way, like his football coach does, by the way, as well. He has a way of kind of saying, not saying a whole lot while saying a lot of words.
That's right. That's kind of his job,
but
his
also,
main job.
But also, there's usually some substance in there as well.
They'll give you a nugget.
So one of the topics that was hit on last night on the network was the stadium project. I love how this always comes up. That's right, out of towners. There's South Stadium project is back, folks. It is back. It's back. Trev left. You guys were around for that last year. Trev left, and we weren't sure about the stadium project. Now, Dannon's been here for a year, and he's like, guess what? Stadium project is back, and it's probably bigger than it was before. But last night wasn't really about the new South Stadium, although it was a little bit. The turf. He took a picture of all the turfs. Mr. Dannon did. Memorial Stadium has been all ripped out. There was a Husker game, by the way, out of towners. The spring game got canceled because we had to do the Husker games. Can't really explain that one.
Was it a better option, Connor?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I can't really explain it, but that I'm just giving you the information. We had to do the Husker games for some godforsaken reason. And after the Husker games, they immediately took out all the turf. If you were here 2 years ago, you said, didn't they just do that? Didn't they just take the turf? That's right. They're getting new turf again. Why
so often?
So I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that question. Apparently they want the ability to roll the turf up for a variety of different reasons.
It sounded like, hey, stuff. We don't want construction equipment driving on the turf. We need something that rolls.
Well, that would be the main reason. I don't know. Maybe I have these wires crossed, but they're going to do a whole bunch of construction, and they have to originate the construction from inside of the stadium, whether it be this summer or next or in the coming years as they gradually get to work and finish on this project by the end of the decade. So they're going to have to, be dragging a lot of equipment across the actual playing field at Memorial Stadium. And that is the main reason why you don't put in grass at the moment. Installing grass will be one of the final things they do when the stadium is, when the stadium project is done. But right now they're installing a new turf field, like Josh said, that they could roll up a little bit. And I don't know why you would have an issue with rolling construction equipment across the turf field, but whatever.
Does it tamp it down too much?
They roll that stupid tractor across it every Saturday.
Yeah. All sorts of Gatling guns.
Yeah,
and
Herbie's chucking out stuff and whatever. Anyway, they're getting new turf again. Also, there will eventually be, but to reiterate, they're getting grass at the end of this project. And there will eventually be a South Stadium scoreboard, and apparently all of the sound is going to come from there as well. They are redoing the North Stadium scoreboard this offseason, something that you probably won't even notice. But if you were at the games last year, you may have noticed that a couple of the panels just, dumped out.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're going to replace that scoreboard, but it'll be the same size and shape as the last one. And then once they get done with South Stadium, they're going to put a gigantic scoreboard in South Stadium, and then all of the sound and stand up and shout and all those things will be originated from the South scoreboard. I cannot wait. I mean, so that's the update on the project at the moment. Dannon said last night, as far as the whole project is concerned and the scope of it, I remember he said a couple weeks ago, months maybe, he was like, yeah, I think this summer we'll have something a little bit more concrete that we could sort of roll out and show people, play a little show and tell a little bit. Last night, he said on the thought that something like that was going to happen this summer, he said, quote, "The urgency for making that public just isn't there right now." So they do not appear to be close to letting the public know exactly the size and scope of the South Stadium project, or the stadium project in general, which makes me feel like it's going to, I mean, I don't know. The sense that I've gotten is that every time they look into it and every time they think about, doing something and whatever it is, like the scope just keeps getting larger. Remember originally Danon's plan was, as he was getting a grip on the entire situation, was like, yeah, I think we got to really worry about the like the big picture stuff that you probably won't see as much first. Wi-Fi, back of house stuff, like structural integrity of things. We have to make sure all of that stuff is sound. And that is still the case. And then he talked about putting chair backs on and stuff like that. So I wonder how far we are away from that. But I don't know. I just get the sense that whenever this gets rolled out, it's going to be pretty big. And I think it'll be a lot to swallow for Husker fans. I mean, we don't like spending money around here. I don't know if you've heard this, Josh. We're a very conservative state.
I have gathered that.
Welcome to Nebraska. If you're listening for the first time this year from the coast, it turns out Nebraska is actually a very conservative state. And so I think people are probably going to, need some time to digest what the stadium project ultimately in scope is going to look like, because I think it's going to be pretty big. Like really, really big. And it's going to have a big price tag on it. And we know how price tags work. Whatever the price tag is going to, it's going to be larger than what it says at first. So on the turf, they used to do the turf like 10 years at a time. I don't know what the reasoning for replacing it so soon again would be outside of what I said before. And then he talked about the roster limits last night. Mr. Yogurt did. He said he didn't really want the roster limits, and I sort of wonder why. Like, I know we've been over this a million times. It's been the really cool thing for athletic directors, administrators, head coaches over the last couple of weeks and months to talk about how difficult their jobs are right now. And don't get me wrong, like it is. It's a hard job. But they're talking about the constant adjusting and the target's always moving, and it is. But in a lot of cases, and I'm not saying that this is specifically the case for Danon, but I get the sense that in a lot of cases, they're using, like, Nebraska's got 130 players on their roster right now. Does it really help Nebraska to have 130 players on their roster? In my opinion, I don't think so. Like, in my opinion, I don't think so. And I think we're past
You think
that.
they got to get it down? Or
I'm just saying, like, if it's within the rules for you to have 130 players on your roster, does it actually help you as a university? Because the reasoning for getting down to 105, part of the reasoning for getting down to 105 from the NCAA's perspective, or from the settlement or whatever, is that it helps reduce costs for student athletes. Like, you would think that athletic directors who have been constantly complaining about the fact that their jobs are going to be so expensive to do now would be pro cost-cutting measures.
Does it? Okay, so that's why you asked, does it help the university?
So does it actually help Nebraska to have 130 players on their roster? I don't think it does, but yet you hear Danon and Rule talking about, man, I wish there wasn't a limited roster that we could have. I wish we could have all of the players that we want, which obviously costs the athletic department more money. Like, I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool that Nebraska has a history and tradition of the walk-on program and all that stuff. And maybe if you're lucky, you get a couple guys that pop out of there and end up being stars for you, or great stories, or whatever it might be. And I think it's cool that those guys have opportunities to play college football and live out their dream, or wear a uniform, or whatever their goals might be. But does it help? Does it help? I mean, this is at the center, and this is at the core of the walk-on conversation. Does it really benefit Nebraska to have a walk-on program? I don't know. It's cool. It's history. It's tradition. It's a part of the fabric of the state. Does it help them? I don't know. I don't know that I can answer yes to that question.
I think from a football perspective, it does. From a university, if you're trying to cut costs.
From a football perspective, does it help them? How?
You love the depth. You never know what you're going to find in there that group of 25 players.
So here's the deal. And I was thinking about this because, well, Mitch wrote about, he did a roster breakdown on The Athletic today, and we were talking about it on the podcast this morning. Like, Nebraska still has a lot of dead weight on their roster right now. They have 130 people, or 130-ish people on their roster, something like that right now. 130 people on their roster. They have a lot of dead weight on their roster. Even if they got to 105, they would have some dead weight on their roster. Even if they got to 80, I mean, remember the previous scholarship limit was 85. You only had 85 scholarships, but you had 120, 130 players, up to 150 players on your roster. Did it help them? I don't know. It crowds locker rooms a little bit more. Had to build a second locker room when Frost was here, right? So I don't know. Like, you could look at the roster right now and you could say, yeah, I can come up with 15 guys who aren't going to be. And sure. And to Rule's point, those are just conversations, unless he has to have them, that he doesn't want to have. But if they told him today, Coach, your roster has to be at 105 tomorrow, he'd make it happen.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be hard.
No.
He would just have to have 25 difficult conversations in one day, which would be emotionally taxing.
It would be
it'd be emotionally taxing, but it would be doable.
Hey, Ron, I scheduled all your meetings for March 31st because I didn't think it was a real day.
Exactly. I guarantee they know exactly where they would go.
Yeah.
Right now.
Are you of the belief that if the NCAA doesn't mandate it, you shouldn't follow it in terms of a roster limit?
I don't think Nebraska will. I don't think Nebraska will have a 105-man roster next year.
Okay. I don't either. I don't think they should either.
I think they'll have whatever they basically have right now. Because to Rule's point, if they're not forced to tell those guys to leave, then why would they?
Right.
They could just carry them for fun. But once again, is it working for you? Are you getting something out of it? And I could argue that it's just dead weight.
And you could also do what Matt Rule wanted to do and pare it down gradually.
Yeah. Right. And that seems like something that could happen as a result of this settlement.
You know, sometimes a guy needs to realize, like, halfway through the season, oh, I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
They told me I wasn't, but I didn't believe them.
Right. Couple things from you guys first before we get your thoughts on that.
Love you guys.
Colin writes in.
Hi, Colin.
Enjoying this new bit. While you were regaling the out-of-towners who only get to hear you once a year, you must not have heard of the app or podcast, so they must be very old. Can you add in a bit of sports Pope impression while you're at it? You talking about Mike Francesa and his Diet Coke. That would really make the East Coasters feel welcome. Sure, I could fall asleep on the air if you want me to.
We got Diet Coke in the fridge.
Here's the deal.
You want 100?
Juan Soto needs Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge clearly doesn't need Juan Soto. So you tell me who the better play is. I've seen Soto. I've seen him walk. It's great. I love his walks. He gets on base. Aaron Judge is hitting 412. Okay?
Hey, Pope.
412.
Hey, Pope, it's me, Vinny from the island. Got a question for you. I'll hang up and listen.
It's Giambi.
100 people versus one of them there gorillas. Who you got? I'll hang up and listen.
Hey.
In what situation?
Hey, Steve, enough with this. Come on. Enough. We got to deal with this again. Come on. Black Cat writes in, imagine explaining the Husker games to some dude who just got off a plane from NYC. It would be difficult.
Tough butt.
It would be difficult. There was somebody else who sent in that they liked this bit of us explaining things like people were listening one time.
Oh, it was a tweet.
Oh yeah, Brandon.
Yeah, hi Brandon.
I am seriously laughing out loud in my office to think that the out-of-towners for the Berkshire meeting actually would listen to 1620 The Zone. They are definitely on the classical music stations. Hey, it didn't work out that well for Howard Hamlin, did it? You see what happened to him?
I didn't think we'd have a Howard Hamlin reference on
I
the
just
show.
got done. Well, I'm not all the way done, but we just watched that episode of Better Call Saul. He was running around town in his Namaste, car, whatever, and he's got classical music going on. You know what? Next thing happens. Spoiler alert: gets shot by a cartel person, no less.
One of them there cartel.
Yep. I'm sure that. So maybe it's a good choice for you to listen to sports radio. That's all I'm saying.
They could have dialed the knob wrong and ended up here on an accident.
Aaron writes in.
Hi, Aaron.
Berkshire people can understand this. The stadium project will be sniffing around that B word mark. Billion,
not
billion. For more than, let's say, 400 or so million in the original forecast, which anybody that didn't have their head in the sand knew and was asinine to think it was going to be much less. Foundation work is expensive. Yeah. What does every athletic director always say? Hey, look, man, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right.
We're going to do this right.
We're going to do this right. And yeah.
Every day you wait, it does become more expensive than the previous day.
But they're going to do it, and they're going to do it right, and they're going to try and do it big. And then if this athletic director doesn't get the job completed, then the next athletic director, when that athletic director gets fired or whatever, will come in and he'll be like, I have some takes about this project. Or maybe it'll be, fully done by then.
Would you like to buy a Loge box?
Oh, we're going to have plenty of Loge boxes. That's for sure. All right. So there's the update from the Yogurt Man last night on the show. We got some more football things, including Nebraska's lack of running backs on their roster at the moment. Actually, they have some running backs, but we just don't know if any of them are good.
Yeah, okay.
And they missed out on one yesterday. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Unfortunate news out of Tampa. The Rays have scored a run, which means the Royals have already lost today.
What?
The Royals can't score.
They scored 3 yesterday, and that was
That
enough.
was a minor miracle.
It was enough.
They needed almost 7 no-hit innings from a rookie making his major league debut.
6 1/3.
6 1/3. He got into the 7.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Cameron. Nice start by him last night. He was shoving.
And what did he get for his trouble?
Back to Omaha.
A ticket back to Omaha today.
At least he doesn't have to make the drive up I-29.
Okay, yeah.
Right? He's probably arriving back in Omaha
on one
right
of those
now, on one of those flights with the East Coasters.
Hey, this PJ's headed from Tampa. You just want to hop on?
I don't think he got it at PJ. I think he probably had to fly commercial to Omaha.
What did he get? Yes, he played his major league debut in a spring training ballpark.
It's pretty rough, isn't it?
Gave him 6 1/3 no-hit innings,
and then immediately sent back.
Not on a commercial plane.
Yeah.
What big league experience did he get?
I
would love to talk to him about this.
Let's talk to him. Actually, let's send a text to Nick Batters and say, "Can Noah Cameron come on the show? I'd like to talk to him."
You send it. Nick is mad at me.
Oh, are you doing bad? Are you doing bad?
As a team, we are trying to help him.
I'll send it. I'll send the text. Speaking of the Royals, I have a question for you real quick. Maybe Colin and White Plains can chime in on this. Is Bobby Witt Jr. going to get second in the MVP to Aaron Judge for the rest of his life?
Oh God, is he Karl Malone?
No.
Okay.
I want to put the
chop
on that one.
No, don't put it on the internet that I said Bobby Witt Jr. is Karl Malone.
No,
is he John Stockton?
He's clearly not that. I don't know. It seems like he is destined to get second in the MVP forever to Aaron Judge. What has Bobby Witt Jr. done? He's like through his first 5 years, or for his first 500 games, rather, he's like top 3 in the franchise in every single stat you could ever have through 500 games. Like he's on track to be one of the best Royals ever, first or second. And
I mean, he's already in the top 5 of that.
He's
right?
getting very close. Yeah, he's only played 500 games, so I guess it's a little early.
Got his 1,000th base last night,
but if he continues on this pace, he's hitting 21 straight games, and Aaron Judge is like, whatever, I'll just hit 60 home runs and hit 400. I guess I'm Ted Williams now. And Bobby Witt Jr. will be like, what the hell? This is messed up, man. I'm trying to win an MVP once, at least. So
maybe that's one.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All right. Oh, we got a couple. I wanted to get to this YouTube comment. This is good.
I love a YouTube comment.
It's from Douglas.
Oh, I don't love those as much, but sometimes they're fun.
It's from Douglas. So we call Troy Dan and Mr. Yogurt.
We do.
Douglas wonders if 1620 has made any funny names of Creighton staff members or players, and has Josh Odson ever canceled any J program ever? Please and TU. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
For example, let's call Marcus Blossom Mr. Flower.
I would think a play on the television show Blossom would be funnier.
Interesting. Or we could call Coach Mac Big Mac with cheese. Those are both extremely catchy, Douglas, and I'll run up the flagpole because it's not us who make the nicknames, it's
society.
It's the radio bosses, and they know that we're in it for the clicks.
Boss man Steve is always putting his thumb down on us.
We have to run it through the process. So, they for some reason cleared Mr. Yogurt. And so we have to check if Mr. Flower is going to work.
Mr. Flower. I mean, that brings up bad memories of Jim Flowers.
Those were good times.
Some might say a little too good.
Didn't end well.
Calling Coach Mac Big Mac
that's normal, but a little mainstream. Right.
He's just so big.
He's a large person.
I would worry about him like punching John's lights out.
Large Mac.
Yeah.
By the way, tune in at 2:45 this afternoon. I can't wait to see what he says about this whole wrist thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be just excellent, excellent stuff.
Have I ever canceled a Jays program?
Have you?
I haven't.
Are you interested in canceling somebody? Hey, I'll remind you, Creighton baseball lost to UNO on Tuesday.
I don't love that. However,
would you cancel them?
I mean, they've never fallen so short of expectations.
Last year was pretty bad. They didn't even make the Big East tournament.
Well,
and yet I heard no cancellation from you.
Nobody was clamoring for them to host a regional before the season started either.
That is actually true.
That's kind of where a lot of
it's a good point.
The canceling comes from the preseason expectations.
So what you're saying is Nebraska athletics are guilty. I mean, they are really getting hurt by their own Kool-Aid sunshine pumping fans. Creighton has
a little bit.
Creighton has some Kool-Aid sunshine pumping fans, but not nearly as many.
Right. If I canceled Creighton baseball, what would happen?
The repercussions of this? I'd probably be mad at you.
It'd be like a fart in the wind. No one would notice.
But you wouldn't. You don't really have a reason to do so right now.
No.
You could cancel, Creighton basketball. They're not going to have Ryan Kalkbrenner or Stephen Ashworth.
Mm-hmm.
Saw great videos of Stephen Ashworth last night, dressed as he was about to go knock on some doors.
They've never won a postseason tournament.
That's true. I'd say that's cancel worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Do it, Josh. You won't do it. Cancel them.
Today is not the day.
Okay. Maybe sometime in the fall or in the winter. Will you cancel Nebraska football's running backs, Josh?
Oh, I think they'll do that for themselves.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I've got some questions about this over the last 24 to 48 hours here. You guys have heard me voice my frustrations about the running back position at Nebraska. And they fell short on Marty Charmar Brown from Creighton Prep originally, and then played a year at North Dakota State, where he was the FCS Freshman of the Year. And Nebraska was after him in the transfer portal. They hosted him on a visit. He visited Miami. He visited Cal. Looked like he was going to go to Cal. It seemed like it was a pretty hot battle. My sense, and he ended up at Miami. My sense on the running back position in general, I never felt. Now, Josh, I don't know if you felt something different, or I don't know if other people out there felt something different, or if they don't think about anything like this. So you tell me. I never got the sense that Nebraska was super committed to bringing in another running back, because of when asked at spring ball, the company line was sort of like, we really like what we got. And I know where that comes from. I know that they want to do everything they can to keep the people that they have in the locker room right now. And, if you say, hey, look, man, we hate what we have and we have to go get more running backs, then the people in the locker room probably aren't going to like that. And they're going to end up leaving. Right. So at the same time, how do you portray yourself to a running back who is coming in who you're interested in bringing in the transfer portal? If your company line is, hey, look, we really like that. We kind of like the guys that we have. And you could, I don't think this is Nebraska's pitch. Like, I think Nebraska sold him pretty hard. I think Nebraska kind of tried here, but the idea kind of is, backhanded compliment. Like, I think they tried. I think they ran after Marty Brown and they fell short. But keep in mind what Nebraska's sort of line was on the running back position. It's like, hey, we kind of like what we got. So
RB2.
If you are doing, if you're Marty Brown and you're listening to not only what they're saying to you, but what they're saying about the room in general, and it's like, hey, we really like what we got. How do you translate that? Part of my translation would be, oh, well, like, there's no guarantee that I could go in there and go play right away, or go play in 1 year, or go play in 2 years. I don't know the specifics of the situation at Miami. I think they have a guy that they like for this year, and then kind of, you go after that. At Cal, it was a totally empty room because they don't have any players on their roster right now.
That's right.
And
They don't.
I think Cal was, I would imagine that they would sell that. They're looking for literally looking for a starting running back in the portal, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And so that's where I get the sense Nebraska, I don't know if it's exactly applicable to this situation that they didn't really run and try for Marty Brown, but that is the general sense that I've gotten from them about the position. We like what we have, and we're not going to chase you. If you want to come here, awesome. You could be a great asset to us. You'll probably play a little bit. If you don't want to come, we're not going to run after you. We're not going to. If Miami offers you 25% more, don't come back to us saying, "Hey, if you could bump it up 25% more than that, then you got a deal." Handshake. I don't think Nebraska is operating like that, specifically at that position. And I think I go back to, they want to run this sort of like an NFL team, and
that's what I'm thinking.
And I think that's a low value. Right. It's a low value position for them. So if they feel like, okay, we have a guy that we like and we trust, and we can fill in the holes with the rest, which I'm a little dubious about, then do we need to go out and spend more just to solidify a position that we don't even value that high? If you're doing the hierarchy of positions that you value on a football team for Nebraska or really anybody else, I think this is semi-universal. It's quarterback, offensive line, defensive line, interchange those two, whatever. And then probably defensive backs and wide receivers, interchange those two. And then, you feel like you can get a bunch of backs and tight ends. Backs, tight ends, and linebackers. Right? I mean, that's how the NFL approaches it.
Right.
That's how the NFL approaches it. But I have seen enough football to know when a linebacker is really, really good, it's going to help you, When Levante David's on your team, that's pretty sweet. That makes your defense a whole hell of a lot better. And when Amir Abdullah is on your team, that makes your team a whole hell of a lot better. What I've missed at that position is, a real game breaker, but I just don't think Nebraska has that. And I don't think they really pushed after it. And I don't think Marty Brown is that. But certainly could have helped them. So I guess that's my piece in the situation. I have concern. I have concern about how they approach the position, and I have concern about especially what it's going to be like this fall, because there's nobody else that is on the board. And they talk about what they like. They like him at Johnson, but we're comfortable with what we have, which means you really like Quentin Ives, and there's just no way that you can know. I have a complete and total understand, because I hear people talk about like, hey, look, man, can't you just sit back and you just trust the coaches about what they say about Quentin Ives? I'm like, no. No. I've seen him for 5 carries in a meaningless bowl game. No, I can't. Nobody would go. No, like, put yourself in reality. Like, you wouldn't sign up for that. You wouldn't. If this guy is going to be a significant piece for you next year, and he has to be, then, and you've seen him hardly ever, you wouldn't sign up for that. You wouldn't be like, yeah, okay, I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that. How could you possibly be comfortable with that? And how could Nebraska possibly be comfortable with that?
Every time he carried the ball at the Pinstripe Bowl, he scored a touchdown.
What is it? One for one?
One carry for 2 yards and a touchdown.
Attaboy.
Every single time
Attaboy.
He scores a touchdown.
It's pretty high percentage.
That's RB2.
It's pretty high percentage. I'll give him that, Josh.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. But like, I just don't think you can know. And so my sense is that is a reflection on how they feel about the position. If they feel comfortable enough to entrust the person with one carry, what's his career, Josh? Did you?
Oh, I
delete?
didn't. I didn't look at that.
Oh, I thought you just pulled down the tab already.
No, yeah, I did close that tab. I was done. I cherry picked my stat and got the hell out of there.
What's his career? Career carries.
Career carries for one Quentin Ives.
I think it's 5.
Number 28 in your rosters, number 1 in our hearts.
Well,
6 carries for 7 yards and 1 touchdown, along of 5.
So if you're saying
2 of his 6 carries have gone for positive yards.
If you're saying, here you go, here, and maybe he will be a good player.
Sure.
But if you're saying, hey, look, here's your RB2 and he needs to really help out and be that's just a role that he hasn't done before. It's just a role that he has not done before. And it's not like he's got a bunch of hype behind him either. You know, if you had a freshman who came in with, 4 stars attached to him and there's a bunch of buzz about him in fall camp or in spring ball, and people were like, oh yeah, this guy is going to be, if he's Maurice Washington or something like that, this guy's going to be able to help us out this year. Maybe the conversation would sound and feel a little bit different, but I haven't heard that. It's been more of like a defense of the spot. So I think that all ties into how it all worked out with Brown. And then I would also say that he just chose Miami, like I think there was an effort there from Nebraska, but at the same time, it's a position that they don't seem, maybe I'm wrong, but it's a position that they don't seem to value that much. That they say,
probably
we can go get a guy who does that, who fills that role for us. There are 40 of them out there. We'll see.
Probably
I think
little
Nebraska
too
needs
NFL pilled.
I think Nebraska needs a game breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched these running backs for the last several years now, and they get yards. I mean, Emmett Johnson got yards last year, but there was very few times, and maybe it was a little better at the end of the year. There was very few times where I felt like he was doing more, where he turned, what do we talk about with running backs all the time? Like you turn 5 yards into 8 yards or 1 yard into 5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
There was just, not much of that. Game breaker. Or how about, 10 yards into 50 yards.
Whoa.
It is possible.
You're dreaming.
The only guy that did that last year was Dylan Raiola because he got a block from the ref.
14 yards?
He had a 50-yard run last year against Ohio State.
That's right. I'm sorry. I forgot.
I had to check. Somebody's going to have this stat handy. I had to check. I will during the break. What was the longest run by a running back last year? All right. So hold on that for a second. We'll come back. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And a few more things. Here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Individual results may vary. Prescription required. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
You've noticed your hair is thinning out, or maybe you've noticed your game in the bedroom is getting a bit cold. Let's make this real simple. These are normal things that happen to lots of guys at some point. And through Hims, getting help couldn't be more, as we said, simple. The process is 100% online, so you just have to answer a few simple questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. For your hair, that means access to a range of doctor-trusted treatments designed to help you regrow hair in as few as 3 to 6 months. And for your more intimate moments, that means access to treatments made to give you a boost in the bedroom, like Viagra, Cialis, and their generic counterparts, which can cost up to 95% less through Hims. If prescribed, treatment is shipped right to your door. A few clicks, and you're dealing with these things before they become a thing. So simple. Find your hair loss and ED solutions today at Hims.com. That's Hims.com. HIMS.com.
Hello, I'm Chris Knopf. I am the CEO of Stevens Center in Omaha. We believe everyone deserves a chance for a fresh start. Between our emergency shelter, our permanent supportive housing units, and our addiction recovery program, we provide food, shelter, wraparound supportive services, and addiction recovery programs to individuals and families to help overcome homelessness, rebuild their lives, and find a path to a permanent housing destination. You can help others by helping us. Visit stevenscenter.org.
All right, we're on Jacob Padilla was right watch. Bobby Witt Jr., 2 at-bats, 0 hits today as he rides a 21-game hitting streak. And Jacob Padilla, early in the show, ball knower, baseball man, Roll Jays Go Baseball, said that Bobby Witt Jr.'s 21-game hitting streak would end today. And so far, so good.
I love the idea that you gave him the nugget of Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak.
Tell your friends
to take to your AAU friend. It conjures up in my mind him like walking into a gym, putting down a bag on like the first bleacher, and like, hey guys, did you know that
check this out?
The longest hit streak in baseball is Joe DiMaggio at 56
games. Nobody's really come close.
Look at this miscarriage of justice.
On this out here?
Yeah,
he did not tag him.
No.
Colin in White Plains.
Hello again, Colin.
Unless Bobby Witt Jr. starts hitting 50-plus home runs, 130-plus RBI, while hitting 300 with a 1,100 OPS plus. Well, no. Oh, OPS, 1,100-plus OPS. The Judge is the MVP. Oh, by the way, Judge led MLB in WAR last season, and 2 out of the last 3 seasons, and on pace to do it again. Colin in White Plains.
He also led the league in tiny baby ballpark games.
That's right. He also, speaking of tiny baby ballpark, I stumbled upon that idiot that the guy, I shouldn't call him an idiot. I don't know him, but the guy who leads the chants in the bleachers he's just a total nerd. Just a total nerd. He leads the chants in the bleachers for the bleacher creatures.
Gross.
Yeah. It's absolute sicko behavior. But he thinks he's a part of the team because he does the chants. I wouldn't want to be associated with something like that. That's for sure.
No.
So Bobby Wood Jr., point for him there. He gets my vote for MVP. No weirdos following him around.
I like that about him.
I think it works for him. So our question that we left off with in the last segment, what was the longest run by a running back last year? Emmett Johnson's 42-yard run against the UTEP. And then Emmett Johnson didn't play for a while. So that's the other thing about the position that I feel like is important to bring up. So he had 8 carries for 71 yards against UTEP. He had 1 carry in the Colorado game, 4 in the UNI game, 8 in the Purdue game, 14 in the Rutgers game, 8 against each Indiana and Ohio State, 7 against UCLA, and then Holgerson shows up. And all of a sudden, his touches are at 17, 22, and 24. Yeah. And then in the bowl game, a little less because they wanted to get some more guys in. So with 19. Like his touches completely spiked with Dana Holgerson. I don't know if you guys know this. Dana Holgerson is coming back. He is Nebraska's
That is
offensive.
confirmed.
Yes.
You're confirming that here on the air today.
He will be here. Yes.
Wow.
He will be in Lincoln this fall.
Exciting. He will stop his world tour to stop in Lincoln.
Yes. He'll fly. He'll take the PJ straight that the family, the Roy family left in the in Monaco or whatever. So I just have, sue me. I just have some doubts about the way that they handled the position. They've handled the position over the last couple of years. And that's why I have doubts about how the whole Marty Brown thing went too. You know, like how hard did they push?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But going off of what their temperament about the position has been over the last couple of years, I'm forced to think that the line was like, we like what we got, whatever.
We're fine. What are you talking about?
I would have approached it with just a little bit more urgency.
It's crazy talk. What are you talking about?
A little bit more urgency. That's all. Before we take a break here. By the way, Isaac tweets in at 1620 the zone.
Hi, Isaac.
Run the damn ball. I agree, Isaac. Good take.
I'm gonna ask you something because I haven't seen the tweet. Do you believe this to be an ironic or unironic?
Unironic.
Okay.
Unironic. Run the damn ball. They're gonna run that. They're gonna
run that thing.
Oh, they're gonna run that thing for sure. Emmett Johnson, get ready. Get ready to learn Emmett Johnson, everybody. He's about to get loaded up. No doubt about it.
What could go wrong?
I wonder that sometimes, Josh. You know, we love to have the conversation of what happens when Dylan gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what happens when Heinrich Harburg gets hurt? What will we do at backup quarterback? Haven't had the conversation of what happens to the guy who you give 22 touches, 25, 28 touches a game to. What happens if he gets hurt and you don't have a backup running back? That's a little interesting. It's fascinating to me anyway. Some tweets that I'd like to highlight here before we take a break. This one from Frank Caliendo.
Hi, Frank Caliendo.
Friend of the show, Frank Caliendo. Wow. He responded to Greg McDermott's tweet, a.k.a. Coach Big Mac with cheese.
Trying it on, how'd it feel?
I hated it. Who said, happy birthday to Stephen Ashworth. Now, Coach Mac did not mention the age of Stephen.
37.
That's right.
Can you believe it?
But Frank Caliendo responded to that by tweeting out a movie poster from the movie Boss Baby.
That's his nickname for Stephen Ashworth.
Yeah, this is his nickname for Stephen Ashworth. Which, according to our dear friend Frank Caliendo, he's either unappreciative of it or maybe didn't understand it or just didn't like it. Not sure.
Well, when he never saw it because he was like 19 by the time Boss Baby came out.
He was aged out. That's for sure. Also, Josh has made us aware of this tweet from at UNC Football.
It's not about that.
We're going to talk about that though in the next hour. But this tweet from UNC Football is regarding the the coaching resume of one Bob Diaco. Coach Diaco brings a wealth of experience to the defensive side of the ball. 29 years of coaching experience.
He's their D-line coach.
Winner of the that dude just keeps after it. If there was a guy who ever needed to take a breath after he got fired from Nebraska, it was him. Because remember, he was an excellent defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, got the UConn head coaching job, and then got fired from that, and Nebraska scooped him up right away to be their defensive coordinator in a disastrous move. It didn't work out well for Bob Diaco. He had a lot of things to say and not a lot of things to work with. But he may have been the best coach on campus, according to some. Got fired from Nebraska after 2017 with his Argyle sweater on and just kept going. He just kept going. Like he was the defensive coordinator at like Louisiana Tech. I don't have his wiki up right now, but like I think Louisiana Tech, Purdue, LSU, like he's just been plugging away ever since. This is a long time ago now.
Doorbell's ringing. Oklahoma, Louisiana Tech, Purdue, the New Jersey Generals, LSU.
He just keeps going. You can't stop this man. He should take a year off, is my personal opinion, but he didn't, and now he is Bill Belichick's defensive line coach, or Jordan Hudson.
Jordan Hudson's defensive line coach. There's just some very weird references on here. There's players coached. The first one listed as Manti Te'o.
Mm-hmm.
Weird first player.
I mean, he was like a National Player of the Year. He was a Heisman candidate.
He was a Heisman candidate.
People forget about that part of it.
I mean, top 3 scoring defense in 2012.
Hey, Notre Dame went to the national championship game that year.
Yeah.
National champion runner-up.
It's listed right there.
Yep, there you go. Players coach Manti Te'o, L'Jarius Sneed, Harrison Smith. Oh, man. Nobody from that 2017 Nebraska defense was mentioned. You know, there's no Ben Stilley on there. It's kind of weird.
Probably if they would have let him have 4 players on that graphic.
They didn't. There was no mention of the civil conflict trophy either.
Right. Civil conflict champion, and then all the years that
he never won the civil conflict.
Darn.
I think he participated 1 year and lost to Scott Frost.
Imagine losing to Scott Frost.
Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Chance writes in.
A Chance. Welcome, Chance.
Bob Diaco is the dandelion of coaching. Can't get rid of him.
Poll question?
I don't know. I like it, though. I'll agree to it without even making it a poll question.
Okay.
All right.
We do need a poll question.
Yeah, we don't have. Okay, let's try and be funny in the 1 o'clock hour. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
All right, so I got a couple texts that I want to get to start the 1 o'clock hour. Welcome back.
Texts.
Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. And another reminder to get your email in for the Mo Money giveaway. Mo Money. Little Mo Money.
Mo Money.
$5,000 you could win in the Mo Money giveaway. Enter to win now, 1620thezone.com with Saul's Jewelry and Loan and us here at 1620 The Zone. 2 texts. Number 1. This is back from earlier. Oh, I just got an email from Doug, too, about Bad Takes, Doug, about the subject line was Jay's Final Four. So can't wait to read that in a moment. But first, the text from the 402. Remember earlier we were talking about Travis Kelce and his mention of the Omaha Zoo? We were trying to find the origins of it. So,
yes.
Full disclosure, I haven't listened to the podcast yet, so I don't know the context whatsoever. But this person from the 402 apparently did. It says, I'm late because I listened to the replays, but the Kelceys were talking about Ty Robinson's pet camel.
Okay.
How in the absolute crap have we never heard of Ty Robinson's pet camel? Is this true? Are we doing our jobs as journalists around here? Does Ty Robinson have a pet camel?
This is a photo of Ty Robinson with...
Like our Ty Robinson?
Yes.
Big ass Ty Robinson?
He's wearing a Nebraska shirt and Adidas shorts. This is a Reddit post on our Eagles from 5 days ago. It's him and a camel.
Okay. He doesn't have a pet camel.
I don't think so.
He just met a camel once.
I would guess that is the case, yes. Eagles fans love it.
Okay. So, back to the text. I'm late because I listened to the replays, but the Kelceys on their podcast were talking about Ty Robinson and his camel and the camel picture. They wondered where he kept it.
Well,
and
hold on.
Travis mentioned maybe the zoo, and that's where the Omaha Zoo came up.
Robinson became well known during the pre-draft process. This is an article from MSN, by the way. Became well known during the pre-draft process for his pet camel, who he took in to help his former neighbor.
Okay, did we pause? Full stop. Did we not know about? I didn't know about
this.
Did I miss something?
We missed a big something.
This is the biggest something I have ever missed as it pertains to Nebraska football. I could give 2 craps about all the junk that we've been talking about today. How did we not know? He was here for 6 years. He had a pet camel? How long?
Not one of you scribes.
This is unbelievable.
Think outside the box for 12 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We got a phone call. Maybe this is defending the local media. It's gone now. Chance writes in, big ass tie, handshake mean big ass camel. Mike says, I knew that. I knew that he had a camel.
Should that be our poll question today? Did you know Ty Robinson had a big ass camel?
Yeah, that should be the poll question today. But let's get this phone call while it's still ringing. Matthew writes in, how are there 50 media members at every press conference and this did not come up once? So Mike follows up and he said that the Huskers radio network always talked about it. Okay, I guess I'm just not listening to the Huskers sports network enough because my goodness, I had no idea. Maybe I'm not taking in enough of the coverage from our local media members because I had no idea that Ty Robinson had a pet camel, which is insanely interesting to me. And I suppose that's how they started talking about the Omaha Zoo on the Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce podcast. Very interesting. Josh, do we take this call regarding the camel?
He has some
inside information?
No, not at all.
Just information.
Information that we needed.
Have we missed something?
I'll let him tell it's brief.
Here is Mel on the hotline. Hi, Mel.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, Mel, go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, so I was watching the draft. Actually, I taped it. Then I went back to watch when Ty Robinson got drafted, and I was watching, or I had taped the ESPN version as opposed to the ABC version or whatever. So it was Mel Kiper and that group. And when he got drafted, they spent a lot of time talking about what a good player he was and this and that. And then they went on to say, do you know the camel story? So they told the story, and again, I'm quoting this or I'm paraphrasing this, but apparently Ty Robinson's mom is a large game veterinarian. Hence, I don't know if they kept the camel, if they just had access to the camel or whatnot, but Ty rode it to school one day, and I want to think that he was maybe junior high age, but he rode the camel to school as a show and tell kind of thing, and the principal made him ride the camel home. So that was all discussed by Kiper and whoever else was on the panel at that time.
Quick follow-up, Mel. Did you? I assume you're a Husker fan, right? Did you know about this before you watched that draft coverage?
Vaguely, I did remember that I had heard that once before, but not often and not recently.
Okay. All right. Mel, thank you for the call. I appreciate the context.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we got that. Ty Robinson's mom is a big game veterinarian. What in the hell is going on? How do we miss this? This is embarrassing. Embarrassing. I feel responsible for this.
When we tell you,
I'm so mad about this.
As a show,
he was here for 6 years.
We would have never stopped talking about Ty Robinson's camel. We're not exaggerating.
Ty Robinson was here for 6 years, and we ended up calling him Big Ass Ty Robinson. You don't think we would have called him Camel Man if we would have known he had a camel, or if he had to ride a camel to school one day?
Camelback,
Camel Boy.
Hump,
Mr. Camel, Joe Camel. We could have called him so many different things.
We could have called him Joe Camel.
Big Humps Ty, Chad says. Hump Boy. We could have called him so many different things. And yet,
Ty Robinson has a big day. Hey, it's hump day.
We failed you. And I take this personally. We failed you.
I don't know how we go on.
We lost all credibility at this point.
How did we not call him Joe Camel?
Mike writes in. So this is this a quote from Ty Robinson? The story is that my neighbor back home, he needed somewhere to put the camel. I came home one day after school and I looked down on my backyard and about 100 yards away, and I went out there and I assume that finishes with, I took a picture with the camel, and that's how the picture with the camel popped up. And I mean, it's sick, really. The stupid New Heights podcast got this before us, and we were just sitting on it for years. This happened in high school. In Arizona.
Is there anything else?
6 years.
If there's anything else you think we don't know and need to know, send it to us via email.
Yeah, we love tips. Yeah. Maybe I should put that in my Twitter bio. Tips are welcome.
Tips.
Because clearly our journos aren't getting the tips anymore.
Got a lot of...
Reddit's getting them now.
A lot of questions. How did our Eagles break this story?
I don't know.
Nick's right. You go to Reddit for the news.
That's what they tried to convince us on, Newsroom. The old way of doing business is exactly that. The old way of doing business. Mm-hmm. The internet is the news now. Jesse writes in.
Hi, Jesse.
Ty Robinson is from Arizona. Camels can't survive in the desert. I think that was sarcastic. Oh. It's one of the camel's specialties. They can survive in the desert. They have the humps. They're filled with water.
Stores things.
Big ass Camel Robinson said 757. Okay. I have received a message from a listener. The media, I don't know who, specifically, but I'll do some Googling after this segment. The media did a story on this years ago during the Frost era. Look it up. That's what the message that I just received says. I mean, so there's one part, like, obviously this wasn't a widely known thing. But the second part is if we had heard the story, we didn't see it enough, or we didn't perpetuate the storyline enough. We just didn't make it a thing. Because if I would have been going around calling him Big Camel Boy for the last 6 years, nobody would have got it, and it would have caught on. You know, it would have been nothing like Tiny Baby Boy or Mr. Yogurt or something like that.
We could have done so much if someone.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Our credibility is
Poll
gone.
question up at Happer show. Did you know Ty Robinson had a pet camel very early in the proceedings?
Yeah.
13 votes in, all of them no.
All of them.
100%.
Yeah, I would like as many votes on this as we could possibly
Yeah.
get. Send this to the camels. Send this to the donkeys.
Whoa, hey, careful.
Out there. Let them find it, because they find everything. They always see everything. But if they didn't know about the camels, then nobody knew about the camel. Nobody knew about the camel. The other text, by the way, that I was going to get to was from Greg in Myrtle Beach.
Hi, Greg.
Regarding Joe DiMaggio. The Yankee Clipper.
Did he know him?
Hit in 16 straight games after his 56-game hitting streak was broken. Did you know that, Josh? Send that to Jacob Padilla.
No, I didn't.
72 out of 73 games. And he also married Marilyn Monroe.
I did know that.
Bravo, Joe. That's from Greg in Myrtle Beach. A very positive text about Joe DiMaggio.
Okay. TC said something in the chat earlier when we were talking about that, and I believe I've read this before. If he got to 57, Hines was going to give him $1 million.
Yeah, they were going to give him. Yeah,
he was going to be,
and he was one
the pitch man.
I wonder what his outs, like what his exit velos were in that 57th game, like the X OBAs for some of those batted balls in game 57, because he hit in 15 more after that. Like,
yeah,
you know. It's but I don't think we have that data. Probably just says F7, 6-3, whatever it is. There's no XBAs in there.
Sad.
It is sad. It is sad. We got a text from Dan. This is something to hold on to for when Dylan Raiola gets drafted. Dan says Dylan Raiola goes to high school basketball games with Emmett Johnson, but it says Ernest Johnson in this. So maybe that'll be what comes up in Bobby Wood Jr. just hit a home run, by the way. Hello.
That's a hit.
That's a hit.
Eat it, Jacob.
Yeah, you're wrong, Jacob. Suck it.
That's a 2-runner.
Sorry. Texter for the 402 just sent me a link to a Journal Star article that was written by Sipple that I assume is about the camels.
We could ask Sipple tomorrow about the camel.
I don't have it. I don't have access to it.
We'll get it. We'll get it for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I hate for that to be a segment, but I guess it is. Oh, when we come back, we have to talk about this article that Josh has read and I haven't yet, regarding the situation at North Carolina.
Not Mike, the situation from Jersey Shore.
No.
The situation.
The situation. Also, I'm gonna find a way to access that Sipple article about the camel.
That's right.
We'll do that back after this on 1620 The Zone. Ty Robinson doesn't remember exactly what he was doing the first day he saw the camel on his family's property. Quote, I was all by myself and I saw a camel in the backyard, the incoming freshman defensive lineman says with a chuckle. This is a story from Stephen M. Sipple in the Lincoln Journal-Star, January 23rd, 2019. Let's be clear on this. The camel's real name is Humphrey. What a fabulous name for a camel. Think about it. But Robinson called him Calvin upon their first meeting and is sticking hard to that name. Even Robinson's friends at school call the camel Calvin. That's a pretty good name, too. Remember, this is from Steve Sipple. As for Robinson's initial encounter with Calvin, I didn't believe my eyes for a minute, says the 6'5", 285-pound high school All-American whose family lives on an acreage in Gilbert, Arizona. But he came up to me and I was like, you're really real. That's what Ty Robinson said to the camel. Let's be clear on another thing. The camel is owned by Robinson's neighbor, but the pasture at the Robinson acreage apparently is well suited for a camel. So there he stands. There's no way that camel could have known he would become somewhat famous in the state of Nebraska. The result of Husker football coach Scott Frost making reference to him on December 19th as he discussed players who just signed national letters of intent. Okay, we got to find that clip.
Okay.
That, at least he gave the date. Scott Frost press conference December 19th, 2019.
So I typed it into Google. I typed Scott Frost camel.
Yeah. Oh,
and
no.
The Google AI does whatever the hell it wants.
It's usually really bad.
I'd like to read you the first sentence.
Go ahead.
There's no readily available information suggesting Scott Frost, the former Nebraska football coach, is involved with a camel.
Search a little harder, Google. You'd be wrong about that. A camel reference. I'm going to keep reading you the Sipple story because Sipple just has his mind is, the words that he uses are just amazing. A camel reference tend to elicit curiosity, particularly when the camel is a part of a unique recruiting visit that involved Frost and his entire full-time staff of assistants converging on Robinson's home December 13th. I remember this for a party of sorts that lasted roughly 4 hours. It was a highly concentrated effort to land the 4-star defensive lineman with great size and athleticism, and one who was coveted by a long list of schools, including Alabama, USC, and Oregon. You have to wonder if Nick Saban took the time to pet that camel during his December visit to Gilbert, Arizona. Which brings us to another pressing question. Does the Robinson family dog, Kodak, really fetch bottles of water out of the refrigerator on command, as Frost suggested? It's not that I'm doubting the head coach. I just wanted to hear it for myself. Robinson said, quote, yes, he does. Sounding slightly annoyed by the question. It's my sister's doing because my mom brought up the idea of training him to do that. He's a very smart dog, but I find him very annoying because he's very protective of my sister and my mom. He barks all the time. Ty Robinson, Connor Happer, handshake meme. Annoyed by dogs. This visit also included a ping pong match with Mike Dawson. Then it was dinner time. There was clam chowder and green chili. Soup was the theme. After dinner, Dawson asked Robinson if he wanted to play cornhole. They played and talked some more. Frost eventually joined him. They soon made their way to the bonfire. This is an amazing story. Frost asked if there was anything else I needed to know, Robinson recalls. That is when life got serious, or as serious as it can with a camel nearby. I told him no, I don't have any questions, Robinson said. I got a little cheesy and asked, okay, where do I sign? And that is the story of how Scott Frost and his staff went to Arizona to hang out with the camel and Ty Robinson.
I kind of agree with Baymon when he says, because I often crave clam chowder when I am in Arizona.
I don't know. I didn't know there was a soup theme.
I understand it was December and they probably thought it was chilly.
You can imagine Dawson's joy after Robinson gave him the good news. What a night. What a celebration. There was one problem. Husker quarterbacks coach Mario Verduzco had just left the house because he had an early flight the next day. He didn't hear the news. Someone yelled, "Go catch Verduzco," Robinson says. Someone went to grab him. He came back. I'd never seen the little man run before. It was funny. He gave me a big hug. Smile, and the article ends this way from Stephen M. Sipple. Smiles all around. Safe to say, even Humphrey, the camel, felt the good vibes.
What a wordsmith.
He is truly amazing. Then I have found in my searching, Mitch Sherman wrote a story in The Athletic that mentioned the camel a couple times.
You host a podcast with this guy.
So somebody knew about it. It mentions the camel a couple times in the Ty Robinson backstory, and Mitch confirms that the camel is named Humphrey and belongs to a neighbor, but spends much of its time in the Robinsons' backyard. As a senior prank, Ty took it to his high school and walked the 2,500-pound animal through campus. 2,500 pounds on the camel, Josh. Would you have had it over or under?
Probably under.
It's a big camel.
Yeah.
It's a big camel.
Big ass camel for big ass Ty Robbins.
Aaron writes in, it's a great question.
Hi, Aaron.
It's something we probably could evaluate here in these next 5 minutes. What happened with Scott, man? From petting camels and going all in to not even going to the house of Dylan Raiola in Arizona.
Allegedly.
He was a broken man by the end, his doing, but broken at the job. It's an excellent point. It's an excellent point.
It just...
What happened to that guy?
It beat him down.
He was so happy and so full of life when he got here. He was like, I have my cake and I'm going to eat it too. I have my dream job. I'm home. And I brought all these dudes with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like all my staff at UCF, they all decided, and they let me coach in that bowl game and we won that thing too. I got it all. And he's going out and recruiting and hanging out with camels. He's got Adrian Martinez. What could go wrong? It seemed like nothing could for that first 9 months. And then they didn't win until October. Late October, I might add. Late October.
Maybe that broke
it. May have been November, actually.
Oh, no.
I mean, they started Owens. No, they wouldn't. It wasn't November. It was probably the middle of October before they beat Minnesota that day. I remember it being chilly. Maybe he harkened back to his time at the Robinsons' house eating soup. I'm chilly. It's a great question. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what happened to that guy. All right, Josh, you've been wanting me to read this story all day. Unfortunately, I've met my capacity for reading stories, so I bring this one to you.
Out of free articles?
Yeah, in my head. What's going on with Jordan Hudson?
Well, aside from the back and forth of what CBS was and was not allowed to talk about, that's not what this Jordan Hudson story is about. This is from the New York Post. I'll read you the headline. How Jordan Hudson, 24, amassed $8 million real estate portfolio within months of meeting Bill Belichick.
Interesting. I would click on that.
Yeah.
I would click on that, Josh.
And it talks about how the fisherman's daughter met the 73-year-old expatriates coach.
Daughter of a fisherman, right?
Yes.
Working class.
Mm-hmm. And then began buying homes almost immediately after the relationship went public. According to documents reviewed by Realtor.com, she bought 3 multifamily homes across the Boston area, which is a totally normal thing for a 24-year-old to do.
How'd she do that?
2 months before that, she dropped over $500,000 on a cottage in Cape Cod.
This is not good, Josh.
Those purchases came about 18 months after the former cheerleader and beauty pageant contestant began dating the 6-time Super Bowl winning coach.
Now, there's a lot of money in the cheerleading and beauty pageant game.
Definitely.
There is. You, if you're really good at it, you're really good at it. If you're a star, you're a star. But enough money to buy multiple expensive houses in and around the area of expensive Boston and the incredibly expensive Cape Cod?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I'll continue because there's more. Hudson's properties include a $2.2 million Dorchester townhouse that was bought with a $1.2 million mortgage in December of 23. The home is split into 3 apartments. One 4-bed currently rents for about $5,000 a month. On the very same day she signed that mortgage, she took out another $1.2 million mortgage on a second townhouse that she bought for $2.3 million.
$2 million mortgages in a day?
Yeah.
I didn't even think that was legal.
Her third major property, purchased on December 15th, 2023,
How many days?
2 days later, for $3 million.
3 houses in a week?
Now, it goes on to talk about how that's a lot of money for, monthly incomes and how she's amassing this wealth and upping her net worth. And then you scroll a little further down and hey, where'd it go? Oh, okay. I'm going to read the paragraph as it is written. There is a somewhat vulgar phrase in there. If your child is in the car,
you can self-edit it if you want, Josh. I'll get it.
I am thinking about it. Her mother eventually moved to Provincetown on Cape Cod, where she manages a marital aid shop and museum. The New York Post did not say marital aid. I did decide to self-edit.
Museum.
That's right.
A museum?
Feels completely unrelated to the story. Just like if someone had a pet camel, you want to throw that in there.
No, I think it adds context. I think we're painting a picture here.
That her parents are not wealthy?
I think we're painting a picture. And I think the New York Post successfully painted that picture with their words. And is asking the question without asking the question, where did she get all that money in such a short period of time?
Seems pretty obvious.
Sounds like to me, and I don't know. It just if we're connecting the dots here, she's never been a person with a lot of money in her life, but she has been a person who's been incredibly on the internet in her life. Right? She sounds like the type of person, there's a lot of stuff out there, Josh, and a lot of advice from a lot of people.
That's right.
Who tell you how to make money fast. There is no way to do this. No good ways, anyway.
Well,
not without risking a lot. So when you have more to risk, you have one of the things down right there. Some of which, most of which, all of which is not your money. That's an important piece of it. But sounds like maybe she had watched a few TikToks or Instagram reels along the way of people telling her, if you get a large sum of money at any point in your life, or if you have access to it, here's what you'll do. The first thing that you do is real estate. Buy houses. Now, whether they're right or not, I couldn't know. I have no idea. I don't know if that's a smart investment or not, because they'll say it's easy. Buy $1 million houses and then rent them or sell them, and then you will have passive, easy income.
Love passive income.
Now, that is not applicable to a person like me who does not have $1 million.
You don't have $1 million.
I do not have $1 million.
You have 1 million jobs. I just assumed you had $1 million.
Not $1 million. Not applicable to me. But And for most of her life, nor was it applicable to one Jordan Hudson. But maybe now it is applicable because she knows Bill Belichick and has access to dollars.
Yeah.
Sort of interesting, isn't it? Sort of interesting.
It does seem
We're
interesting.
painting a picture here,
that
Josh.
Literally days after meeting the Super Bowl winning coach, she started buying real estate.
Yeah. Painting a little bit of a picture. That's all. Thank you for taking me through that story. I feel more informed now.
I loved the line about the mom.
Me too. Definitely important to know.
It was an interesting nugget.
Definitely important to know. All right, we have a poll question to recap. It's an important one.
Very.
So we'll get to that on the other side, and we'll tell you what to watch coming up on 1620 The Zone. Breaking news, the Kansas City Royals have scored 4 runs and are threatening to score even more than that.
More than 4?
Yeah. Could you imagine? It's truly amazing that they have one of, if not the worst offenses in baseball right now, just in terms of their actual offensive output.
Mm-hmm.
And they've won, what? 8 out of 9 now, I think?
Yeah. Oh, wow. They scored 11 on March 31st.
That's responsible for 2/5 of all of their runs this year.
Well, they did play the Orioles and scored 8 one day. Wow. Wow.
They don't score very much, Josh.
I knew that, but like seeing it.
Yeah.
7 against the Rockies.
So there's two schools of thought here. Number one, well, they're not going to be able to win very many games. I know they've done it right now, but this won't hold, right? They won't keep scoring at this rate and win. Or number two, the more positive boy school of thought is that their offense actually comes around. This won't hold. This offense can't possibly be this bad for that long of a time. And their pitching will stay good and they will go on a run to be whatever, the best team in the American League, the second best team in the American League. I don't know. 2 schools of thought, Josh. I'm not sure which one I am of yet. I'd say, as Mike Farron would say, too early to tell.
Ooh.
Too early to tell. All right, to the poll questions. I should say poll question today at Happer Show. Did you know Ty Robinson had a pet camel? Simple question. I did not prior to learning a lot about it within the last 20 minutes.
Been a pretty revelatory 20 minutes for us.
Bobby Wood Jr. has been hit.
Hit?
Yes.
Is he okay?
Yeah. It looked like it was up close. He's always getting hit close up to the hands.
Yeah.
I never like that when that happens.
It's dangerous. Also, that means a 5th run.
That's right.
Bicep? Maybe hit him in the bicep?
A 5th run has crossed the plate. Yeah, right on the shoulder there. 80% say no. Ty Robinson, they did not know that Ty Robinson had a pet camel.
I feel better knowing that we weren't alone there, but
I wish, and it's also like he doesn't have a pet camel. He's close proximity to a camel. Oh my goodness, they have 6 and they have 7. 7 runs,
wow.
Josh.
Could you imagine?
This is shocking. Shocking stuff. All right, those are the polls. What are we watching today?
That's a pretty bad 2 pitches for this reliever in Tampa. NBA playoffs tonight. Knicks Pistons 6:30 on TNT. Knicks with a second chance to close out the Pistons. That will be followed by Nuggets Clippers tonight at 9 on TNT. Denver leads that series 3-2. 4 hockey games on your TV tonight. Maple Leafs Senators 6 o'clock on TBS. Leafs lead 3-2. Golden Knights take on the Wild in Minnesota 6:30 ESPN. Vegas leads 3-2. Stars Avalanche 8:30 TBS. Dallas leads that series 3-2. And a 4th game 6 Kings Oilers 9 o'clock on ESPN. Edmonton
so did the
leads
Devils,
that series.
Did the
3-2.
Devils get eliminated?
They have been eliminated.
It's over.
Sad, I know. Baseball on your television. The Cubs have taken it to Paul Skeens today. The line for Skeens, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 2 Ks. Cubs lead 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Twins, Guardians on right now on MLB Network. Phillies host the Nationals at 6 o'clock. And your MLB TV free game of the day, Red Sox are up in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. Another Simple Favor on Amazon Prime, a new movie for you to watch, the sequel to A Simple Favor, starring Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. The gang gets back together in Italy for Blake Lively's character's extravagant wedding to a rich Italian businessman. The original is on Netflix. Maybe watch that. And on Netflix, The Four Seasons. It's a new series premiering today. 6 friends, including Tina Fey, Will Forte, and Steve Carell, head for a relaxing weekend away, only to discover that one couple is about to split up. I don't know if this is a comedy or not.
Sounds like it.
It has funny people in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean,
I just learned about this show today.
You're telling me that Steve Carell, Tina Fey, and Will Forte are in a show together?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably nudge me in that direction.
Probably has at least some jokes in it, right?
Some jokes. Yeah.
Yes, Netflix's The Four Seasons is a comedy series. It's a reimagining of the 1981 film of the same name.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Josh. Good rec.
Thank you.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
That's what we're watching today, and that's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Crossover is coming up next.